Hello, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Good to see you guys here. Guys and gals, thank you so much for tuning in this afternoon on this in-between real-world trip stream. So I thought, I flew the 321 yesterday and the day before, and I'm actually flying a 321 tomorrow. So since I'm on the 321 kick in real life, I figure I might as well fly it here in the sim, get the best feel, see the comparisons. And I can't wait to get this one going. This is going to be a fun flight. It's a pretty standard. We got 500 something miles to go. It'll be about an hour 30 en route, I guess. One leg today. We're going Lost Wages up to Denver International Airport, DEN, not DIA. It never will be, at least in my book. I hate that airport in real life. I don't like it in the sim, but we're going to go there anyway because guess what? It's summertime and the field elevation is nice and tall, like what, 50 mile high, right? So just under 6,000 feet. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So we got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about 321 specific operations today. We're going to talk about some concerns when it gets hot and heavy, some things to look for, and not just with the tail strike. I mean, that's the obvious one, right? 321 tail strike, 9.7 degrees, unemployment attitude, pitch, don't do that. There was actually just a tail strike the other day. I was reading an article in Nashville. I think it was a 320 though. I don't know how that happened, but yeah, tail strikes are a real thing. You got to be careful of it, and it'll be something we'll discuss, and we'll talk about how to mitigate that and so forth. So good to see everyone here. Lone Wolf, Tools in the house, Zach Hamilton, Callie Simmer. Hey, Callie Simmer, how you doing? Callie Simmer, I'm actually headed into LAX tomorrow, so I'll be looking for you down there at the In-N-Out. Hit me up with a double fries and a shake, please. McAllen, good to see you. McAllen, how you doing, man? McAllen, I saw your message about something and I forgot. I read it at like 6 o'clock this morning on 4 hours of sleep, and then my kids jumped in. You were asking about this. Oh, yes. I remember now. McAllen, give me a couple of days to clarify some stuff, and I'll get back to you on that. Because, yes, there is something happening, but I don't have any solid dates or information yet. So just give me a couple of days. I'm in communication, but there is something happening with that. So Crow, good to see you. Zippy's in the house. Captain Will, good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Hamish is here. Nabil's in the house. Bomb Tech, good to see you, my man. Cytomic, Logo Lights, Al W. Al, how nice has the weather been to this morning, man? I woke up, it's 84 degrees. Oh my goodness, I'm getting ready to throw a hoodie on. It's freaking cold here in Dallas. I absolutely love it. Many more in chat. Thank you all for tuning in. We're going to just go ahead and skip the rest of the shout outs because we got a lot to get going. And just look at this beautiful thing here. I wound the time back just a little bit because we're going to be flying midness all the way over to Denver. So I figured let's just wind it back a little bit, because if I had my own PC at my house to stream, I would be doing this at probably 10 a.m., which would be 8 a.m., which is what we got the sim time set. And the sun is eclipsing the tower here at Las Vegas, McCarran. Harry Reid, it will never be. Gary Gold, good to see you. Look at that little cactus right there next to us. How nice is it to have 321s in the sim now? How are y'all liking it? So I've been loving the screenshots in the Discord. You guys have been posting a lot of 319, 321 juice. So love to see that. Love to see that flooding the Discord. It's a beautiful 74 degree. Oh, hey, the Aviator, that's too cold for me, man. 74 degrees? Can't do it, man. I'm from Texas. All right. Let's fire this thing up, chat. We're not using GSX today. GSX is dead to me, but we still have a moderately loaded 321. I have to say, my 321 flight, so I flew one first leg after we streamed on Monday when this released, and I took a 321. It was crazy. The weights that we used in the 321 in the sim just before I went to work was almost exactly the same weight that we took off with out of Dallas in a 321. It was pretty neat to see. Now, I messed up. I actually recorded all of my engine parameters and fuel flows and stuff in the 321 and the climb out. I want to check some things. I'm pretty sure, I'm not pretty sure. I know we're running Select 2 engines on the 321 I was flying the other day. So it's a little bit more, it's less derated. You have a little bit more thrust. The values might be off just a tad. I think it's less derated, but I also know we have different landing weights and stuff. So this one here in this livery, you can see this placard here, the Spiritual Wangs placard, 588. This is a heavyweight mod. This is the 171-519. This is what a lot of them run in the US, but the Fenix is actually a Euro version, an LITE version, max landing weight 166.4. So I can't confirm this. Maybe somebody knows in the chat, but I know the airframe is different. This is the lighter version. Is the engine derate? I'm pretty sure the engine derate is also different in the heavyweight variant, because that would only make more sense, right? Can't just add another 10,000 pounds of weight and not change the derate on the engine, give it a little bit more thrust. So there is a discrepancy with that. Almost all the 321s that I'm aware of that I fly are all heavyweight mods. So I haven't, because our limitation for landing is 171 and this is 166. So that's what, just about 5,000 pounds or so difference. Not a huge difference, but enough to, if you're not careful, you could end up in the other end, off the end of the runway. So we'll keep an eye on all that. Let's fire up the airplane here. Let's get it going. Let me know how the sim sounds are. I was trying to turn things down because there's a lot of stuff going on at the office today, so I didn't want to be too loud, but I want to make sure the sim sounds, everything sounds good. So here we go. Let's fire it up. We do have battery voltage, which that's a telltale sign if you have a little bug. We saw that on stream. If you don't have the battery volts there, you got to reload your sim because something just crashed, or like maybe the Fenix app blocked out or something. I'll run these sounds up a little bit more. You guys let me know if you can hear the sim at all once we get it fired up here. Let's go right into the Avail. We'll let her come to life. The office. My FPS performance tanked yesterday. Really? In the 319? How are others finding the perf? So your FPS performance. Interesting, Scotty. Well, I will keep an eye on it, my man. I'll keep an eye on it today. Lone Star, good to see you. Finally not late to the party? Hey, this is going to be a fun stream, y'all. This is going to be a good one. We got a lot to discuss. We're going to take our time. I'm extremely proficient because I just flew 3 days. I just came off a 3-day trip. It was a wonderful trip. It's the only reason I'm here streaming with y'all today is because sometimes you've been there with me. I come back from a trip and I'm like, oh, this trip sucked. It was an awful trip, or it was a long trip. I really can't complain. No sim sounds. How about now? Wait. I swear, sometimes streaming just makes it, it's harder than real life flying, man. Sounds are gone again. Okay, so I see what's happening. So there you go. So those are sim sounds on for you. That's weird because the other one says the sim sounds are on too. Flight control side stick fault. I cannot figure this thing out, y'all. With force feedback, I've been trying to set up my controls. It works great, but for some reason the Fenix keeps throwing that at me, and I don't know how to fix it. I've tried messing with the null zone in the box. It doesn't seem to change anything, so we'll just roll with it. I think I have my side stick set up just right now where everything seems to be working good, but the Fenix still yells at me for the side stick fault. So the calibrate null zones are a bug. I don't know if they're a bug, but because I see what it tries to do. I mean, we'll look at it on when we get ready to take off. But yeah, I just wish they could just don't give me the ECAM. Like, if my null zones are off, we don't need ECAMs. We don't need an ECAM for that. Just give me the ECAM for a flight control side stick fault, for a real one. All right, we got CVR test. We'll go captain here. We'll get the ADIRs into a line, position 1. That looks good. We'll go strobe auto, nav position 1. Arm those situations. We know the battery test will fail. We're already in the charging mode. Let's do an engine fire test 1. Engine fire test 2. And we'll do the APU fire test since nobody was on board. We're the first one at the aircraft today. Everything looks good up on the overhead. J'Aviation, this is your livery if I'm not mistaken, right? J'Aviation, fantastic livery stuff, man. I've downloaded most of yours already, like all the retro stuff. Awesome attention to detail. I think this is one of my favorite 320. I mean, these two liveries right here that we're looking at, I think some of the best 321 liveries in the U.S. I mean, there's some really cool 321 liveries abroad, but the 321 is so long that it can't just be all white. You need something. And the U.S. Airways is pretty much all white, but you still have some tail. You've got a good logo, and you've got the solid belly with the stripe. This, you've got the fading, the checkerboard fading. I like it. You need to put some paint on the 321 liveries, and I really like these two right here. These are two great liveries. Javiation says, though, hi there, V1, the weights and perf thing is an interesting one. Sometimes, like in this case, I get the exact numbers for the real airframe, but they don't match up with the add-on simulates. True, Javiation. And the reason for that being, it's just every airline is going to be a little bit different. So depending on how the aircraft is configured, whether they have 2 class, 3 class, economy class, what equipment's installed on the aircraft. So everything's going to change there for then the basic empty weight, and then some will actually have like the heavier weight mod, which is what I fly. Like this weight here, this landing weight is exactly what ours is. This is 171,519. That's our 321 max landing weights. But the Fenix, the simulation that they have is from a slightly different variant. Remember, 321s, Airbus in general is a very customizable aircraft. Most airplanes are, like Boeing 737s, Airbuses. Well, that's really the only 2 players, right? But they're all customizable. So this is the placard is correct. It's just the model that we have is a little bit different. So I end up choosing, do I want to have the actual placard and numbers per the real plane, or what add-ons numbers are based off? It's really cool seeing all the differences. It's what I'm researching. Yeah, I bet you can find those differences pretty sweet when you're, because the attention to detail that you put in your livery is absolutely love it. So you can pick out those little inconsistencies across all these different airframes that you paint. So anyway, man, thank you so much for your contributions as a livery artist here. You guys are absolutely fantastic. All right, let's continue setting up everything. We've got the overhead set up. Let's come down here. Let's just initialize our flight plan. We're going to go over our engine out procedure. We're going to set that up properly. We're going to work today like a real-world flight since I'm in the real-world flight mood. So we're not going to skip anything. We're just going to get things loaded up here and get on our way. So today we're operating as NKS 357. Now, we don't have a V-Spirit running today because I guess this route is no longer. But I didn't want to fly. I kind of wanted to go to Denver. I didn't really want to go anywhere else. So, and United doesn't have 321s. So, I don't know who else would go Vegas to Denver. Frontier, maybe? Do they have 321s? I don't know if they have CEOs. I know they have 321 NEOs. So, I don't know about that. We'll do a 75 cost index. I know this was a real route. I actually jump seated on this very route not too long, well, about a year ago or so now. I took a Spirit Shaw Wangs from Vegas to Denver. So, here we go, 75 cruise flight level. 350 is what we have filed. Looks like we have a PDC already, so we'll throw that in there. Ground temperature off to ECAM 32C. It's not even 11 a.m. Actually, it's just past 11 a.m. Goodness. Denalby, yeah, Phoenix to Denver, almost did that route, but Phoenix, Vegas is just, I don't know. It's a little bit more, what's our field elevation here? 2200, a little bit higher than Phoenix, so. Plus, I do a lot of Vegas flying in real life anyway. I'm going there tomorrow. So I got a long day tomorrow. We'll talk about that in cruise. All right, so there's our flight plan, a departure. It doesn't say, do we have ATIS on? We do. Las Vegas ATIS says they are departing 2 6s and 1 9ers. Let's go for 2 6 for the juice. I want to do 2 6. We'll request 2 6 if we don't get it. But we're going to plan to depart 2 6 right. And we're on the Gidget 2 RNAV, and the transition that we filed, I think it was Turker, yes, out to Turker. Turker transition, that's in the box all the way to Denver, which is one of my least favorite airports to fly to in real life and in the sim, partially because they have 227 runways to choose from. You never know which runway you're going to get, and when you think you have the one you're going to get, they change it on you, and it just is a very mid airport, if you ask me, for how big it is. 3-4 right is what SimBrief gave us. I'm going to put that in the box. I'm sure it's not right, but we'll put ILS 3-4 right. We're coming down the ski arrival. Last time I flew the ski, I remember getting moderate turb. All right. All right, so the transition into ski was a bump. All right, bump to ski, that's all good. Secondary flight plan, before we blast through this, let's get a couple other things set up, and we're going to start loading the airplane as well. We'll do Las Vegas, we'll hold it there. I'm going to put my VOR is on, my constraint mode on, with Magic Barrel ref it. Let's put terrain on ND. Well, we can't do that yet. My airplane's bugged, or is it? Airbus Lesson 101. Why is my terrain on ND not working right now? You guys should know this. Almost 2 years. Skyfall, my man, thank you for the 21 months of support, Skyfall. Appreciate you. Thank you for the support, man. Almost 2 years. Do you find Vegas passengers are more lively? Scotty, going to Vegas, they're definitely more lively. Anytime you're departing Vegas, it's always seems to be a much quieter flight. Much quieter. IRS no align, correct. You guys are absolutely right. So the terrain on ND is part of the enhanced JIPWIZ. So we've got basic JIPWIZ modes 1 through 5. The enhanced version is our terrain database, and if we don't know where we are, it doesn't know how to display terrain. So you can see we have an appropriate fault light there. That's just because the aircraft is not aligned. Very good. You guys are smart. All right, let's come over here. We'll start loading. We'll load aircraft. We'll do 9 minutes. We're not going to do 27-minute load. We'll just do a 9-minute load here. We got 230 packs planned, which is going to be spicy. What is the condition of the cabin right now? It's already 91 in the cockpit, so we're not going to open up the windows. What we're going to do is we're going to get the APU going right now because that's too hot. So let's load up the airplane with a nice cool air conditioning on. We'll start you up. Oh, that's juicy out there. Spool it up. The quietness is all the financial mistakes. Yes, it is. You're absolutely right, Zachary. Absolutely right, man. And killer hangovers, yep. Tony DiRollo, retired U.S. Air Force F-15 mechanic here. Nice, man. Thank you for your service. First and foremost, thank you for your service. Been learning a lot from the captain and members. My thanks to all. Hey, Tony, that's what we're here for, man. This is an edutainment channel here. We like to do a little bit of entertainment, but we also like to do a little bit of education as well. So thanks so much, man, for hanging out with us. I'm glad you enjoy the content. What are procedures for ground? I always get bleed overheat for ground air conditioning. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't believe there's any ground air conditioning simulated in the Fenix. So what you may be mistaking is your ground ceviche, and if you go to PCA, oh no, that is conditioned air. So you could use, I should have used that instead of starting the APU. For some reason I thought they only had bleed pressure, like engine start air. PCA, this is conditioned air, so this would be the same effect really as running the APU. However, in real life, the conditioned air from the jet bridges are rarely as cold as the APU. I say that with an asterisk because some APUs just can't cool the airplane down, especially when you start getting up plus 35 plus C, 38, 40 C, 42 C, 44 C. The last time I was in Vegas, it was 44 C. It doesn't matter if you got the APU on, it's still going to be hot. So, but this should be, if you turn this on, you should be able to get some type of cooling to the cabin. Now, I've started the APU, but we're giving ourselves a 3-minute warm-up time here on the bleed because we want to make sure we don't get any fumes into the cabin. After the last shutdown, you want to make sure that if there's any leftover unburnt fuel in that APU, you want to let that burn through and blow out the tail cone of the aircraft before turning the bleed on. Now, it's not a limitation. It doesn't always mean, oh, if I just turn the APU on and turn the bleed on, I'm going to get fumes in the cabin. It doesn't mean that. It's just a precaution. If you have the time, if it's appropriate, give it to 3 minutes before you turn that bleed on. You won't start cooling the air down, or you won't start cooling the air in the cabin down until you get the APU bleed on. How do air stairs work? Do you have to go crank mode? Air starts. You don't go crank mode, you do a manual engine start. What we can do is, I guess we could do a manual engine start off the APU. Let's do a manual engine start off the APU for simulation purposes. That'll be a good one. That'll be a good one. Okay. When or how would you make use of the bugs button? You talking about on the ISIS? All right, I've been on the Airbus for a decade, and the amount of times I've used the bugs button, once. And it was because I was bored in cruise and I was trying to set my V-speeds up, and it took way too long. So, listen, if you find yourself in a scenario where you are actually flying off the ISIS, you've got a lot more to worry about then making sure you have bugs set on your ISIS speed scale. Now, it's not to say that you can't do it. If you have time, you can, maybe set it up. But here's the problem. When you're setting up the ISIS for bugs, if you're flying on it, now you can't see your pitch attitude, right? So if you were setting if you're trying to fly with your standby and you want to set speeds, how do you know what your pitch attitude is? So it's kind of it's there if some company operators want it, but I've never used it except one time just to see what it was all about. How prominent is the coning effect in the cockpit? In real life, I find the IAs get louder when you reduce thrust of Toga to climb. How prominent? This is a good question because I've noticed this. I'm trying to understand what you're saying here. How prominent is the coning effect in the cockpit in real life? I find it interesting how the IAs get louder when you reduce the thrust from Toga to climb. I don't know why that is, Colorado 72, but that's what happens. All right, we got our APU bleed on. Looks like we're finally getting some conditioned air in there. We're nav upgraded. We're looking good. Okay, so we got to set up a quick and dirty secondary flight plan here for our engine out procedure. How we're going to do this is I'm going to use the runway of 26 right, and then I'm going to use the secondary flight plan PBD 3615. I'm going to try to make this 3 miles. Or 258 at 3. Will that work? No, it won't work. Okay. I didn't think so. So we're going to do Las Vegas. There we go. That's PBD01. And then off of PBD01, I can't remember what I don't have my iPad with me, but we're going to take PBD01. And then off of that, I believe it's, what's the right turn? I think it's 330. No, I can't be right. 030. 030, and we'll take it out 10 miles. And then they'll come back to the Las Vegas VOR. So that's our engine out procedure. And then we're going to come back, if we have to for some reason, we'll come back to the ILS 26 left. Well, actually be ILS Zulu 26 right. I want the longer piece of pavement. No star, secondary perf. Load this back up. Put 200 here on the rad nav. We'll zero out the wind condition. Temperature off the ECAM 33. Oh, it's 350 heading. Okay, yeah, close enough. 350 sounds a little bit better. Yes, 3030 is a little hard right. QNH was Magic Barrel Ref said 29 or 9 or 4. Radnav page. Now, the engine out procedure is identified your first turn 2 different ways. First, I think it's like what, 2.8, 3 miles off the ILAS localizer. So on this particular departure procedure, I'm going to have the LS push button on so I can get DME off the localizer if I need to do an engine out. There's also a secondary way of identifying, and that's the Las Vegas VOR. I believe it's 4 miles or it's 0.2 greater than whatever the ILAS DME was. I don't have my chart in front of me, unfortunately. But I'm going to hard tune both of these frequencies because I don't want them getting auto-tuned if I need to in an emergency. So I have the DME off the localizer. I also have hard-tuned Las Vegas for the rest of the engine out procedure that we would brief thoroughly. Unfortunately, my iPad's sitting in the truck right now and I don't want to go get it. But we have the gist of it in the box. We'll make the right turns. I also have it in the secondary flight plan so we can consider our rad nav page as done. Now, what's important when you start hard tuning this radio nav page, after you go through 10,000 feet, make sure you come down here and you clear this stuff out, because if you don't clear it out and put it back into auto tune mode, you're going to get an ILS mismatch because the first officer's rad nav page is probably not hard tuned. Now in the Fenix simulation, it appears that you hard tune both sides. In the real aircraft, the first officer side would not be hard tuned on his frequency, on his localizer frequency. So, because his would be the nav2 radio, but you would get an ILS or LS mismatch message in the McDo, and it'd be throw up an ECAM. So, clear that out at a 10,000. Progress page, Las Vegas, and perf. We're going to put this back on the init B page. How's our fuel? We are done 20.7 on the fuel. We'll get our fuel tank pumps on. Now that we're done fueling, we'll get the seatbelt sign on, and we'll also put that right here, 20.7 block fuel. We should be almost done boarding too. If we go to the mass and balance page, almost done boarding. So that looks good. We'll leave the zero fuel weight page up right there. Put this back into ARC mode. Put our terrain on ND. Do you program engine out procedure in the secondary? Yes, Isaac Johnson, we do. And you can see we already have it loaded up. If you don't have it selectable in your FMS, you have to build it. So just depends on which airport you go to. Some of ours are selectable EO SIDs. Some you got to build. Just depends on where you're going. If you were a commercial member of the channel, you got to saw Shorts video. My last trip in Bogota, we have a very complex, it's not very complex, but it is a complex special engine out procedure, and that particular engine out is selectable in the FMS. And one thing that'll get you is, okay, let's say you're flying to Bogota or to an airport that has a complex single engine departure. What do you put in the secondary for arrival? Well, some guys will just put the same approach back in, or maybe an RNAV approach instead of a localizer approach in the secondary, but they never program an engine out procedure. So going to Bogota in this case, I even built the secondary flight plan to have the engine out. I said I'm going to make my secondary Bogota to Bogota departure, select the EO SID. That way, if for some reason we go around on our approach and then we pop an engine, it's already loaded up. So you don't just want to think, oh, go around, hopefully if you have to go around, 2 engine go around, everything's fine. But what happens if you lose an engine in the go around and you have a special complex or a complex special engine out procedure? So it's always good to load those up even when you're going to an airport, and you got to think about that. So, is there a way to find engine out procedures for each airport for sim purposes? No. Most of them, some are publics, a lot of them are just company procedures. Some are, like I said, some are public, some are standard, but then different airlines, they'll run different procedures, and it's their own EO SID that they have for their operation. Econ Flow, Flight Sim Guy, that's another great question. Econ Flow push button. This is very similar to how the pack flow selector works in the 20 and the 19. So first thing you have to understand is if you're running a single bleed source, whether it's an APU bleed or you're just running one engine, it doesn't matter what you put this switch in. You're going to get high flow. Okay, it's based on passengers in the back. So if you have less than 100, it just depends on your configuration. Say you have 100. If you have an all econ configuration like we are today in the Spiritual Wangs 321, we have 230 seats. So below 168 passengers, you would turn the Econ Flow push button on, so you don't have to run full flow, but that will only work when you have a dual bleed source. Above 168 packs, just leave it running normal. But again, it doesn't matter if you're just on the APU bleed. Even the rotary selector on the 319, if you're APU bleed, doesn't matter if you put it on low or high flow, it's going to give you high flow until you get 2 bleed sources. All right, we're just about ready to go, chat. My mini FCU still does not work with the 321. I'm glad I'm not the only one. I actually mentioned that to Fenix before they released it, so I think they're aware. 7716 is our squawk code. Cleared via the Gidget 2. Expect 350 on 5. Departure frequency is offline. Call for taxi. We'll do it. Tower's on 19.9er. We'll throw 19.9er right in here. And we are ready to push back and get out of here just about.
Good day, American 420 with spot 4 with information. Yeah, 2993 ready for taxi.
American 420.
Mini FCU update should fix it. John, right, I tried downloading it. I kept getting like that virus alert, and then I even disabled it, but I still couldn't download it. It was weird. I guess I gotta do some more nonsense. It's stuff like that that really upsets me. I'm like, why is stuff gotta be so complicated? Just put out an update so we can update it. Why is it throwing virus, Trojan, blah blah blah? I gotta disable antivirus, I guess, to install it. I tried. I couldn't get it installed in time, and I Said screw it. I'm launching the sim. I don't have time for this.
Delta 95.
All right.
95 the traffic can go ahead of
Ooh,
us.
that sounds like our CFIT specialist, Gustavo.
Right.
All right, we'll send those numbers to the McDo.
Make the left turn on the Charlie.
26 right, dry, flap optimum,
Okay,
force
we'll give a way to
Toga,
the traffic
yes,
follow to
packs
Charlie,
on,
26 right,
sync
Delta
final,
96.
sync live, calculate. What kind of speeds are we going to get? Now, we're going to look at our tail strike avoidance stuff with this too. Flaps 2, VR 168. That is pretty high. 73. All right, so I'm going to run sim brief numbers as well. All right, let's send this to the McDo. And before we get too far ahead of ourselves, we'll disconnect that, and let's close up shop and connect the tug. And then we're gonna have to
traffic observed in the area. Would you change to the dark side of the group today?
change the dark side.
How many,
Chocks cones, we'll close that up. We'll close the door.
I think
Disconnect the
so.
GPU. We'll close that one. Connect the tug.
Active 1234. Where are you going to?
Right, predictive wind shear and weather not running. Microsoft Flight Sim.
I can give it to you, but it's going to be a wait because I got you on a combo line for 26 right. You okay with wait?
Yeah, that's fine. No problem.
That's 1234, runway 19 right, full length, the Golf Delta.
All right, 19 right, Golf Delta, catch.
Meekin, how do you study?
Correct myself because I
For a type ride?
Runway 19
One
left,
step at a
Golf
time,
Delta.
man. One chapter at a time. Don't try to learn everything at once. You got to take one
It's been a
system,
long day and not enough.
read it,
I hear ya.
read it, understand it, comprehend it, then move on to another system. One system at a time. Is ever too late to become a pilot? No. As long as you can hold a medical, it's never too late, my man. Never too late. Let's see. Advice spot number and ATIS for taxi. So, okay, we are ready to push. Let's do a before start checklist. Windows, doors, and slides. They're not armed yet. Beacons on, thrust levers are idle, parking brake is on. We got a good squat code. We'll turn it on for ATC. Windows, doors, and slides. They are closing on. Beacon on, thrust levers are idle, parking brake is off. Before start checklist complete. Let's go ahead and push back. Oh, I guess we're pushing. Okay. We're in the push. We're out of here. Patrick Workman, thank you so much, man, for the 5 months of support. Loving the 321. So many new routes. Yes, indeed. So many new routes. K6 is here. What's up, man? Bad news. Just missed the 357 boarding process. Good news. I won money on the slots at the terminal. Hey, you can't argue with that, man.
Runway 26 right, line up away.
You can't complain, my man. You can't complain if you win some slots there in the terminal. Didn't somebody win big not too long ago in Las Vegas? We don't want to push back into the terminal. We'll just go ahead and stop here. That's close enough. We'll straighten it out ourselves. Oh, look at that. We get our cams up online, ready to go. Set brakes are set. Austin Gray, thank you for the $5 super chat, my man. Love when you fly this livery. Reminds me of when me and my granddad used to fly Myrtle to O'Hare in the 318. Thanks for all the knowledge you bring. Hey, Austin Gray, thank you so much, man, for that $5 super chat. I appreciate the love. I love this livery too, man. It's probably one of my favorite 321 liveries that were in the U.S. I wish it was still around. I wish Spirit would do kind of like how American does historic liveries, I guess. So, like, have a gray one, have a blue one, have a Skittles, and then the rest yellow. I think it'd be really cool. Yes, I make my own camera reviews. What are your thoughts on 318? Never flown one. Never flown one. They don't fly around anymore. So, just out of sight, out of mind, man. They haven't been around in the U.S. for a while. Okay, so before we get out of here, I want to run sim brief numbers. Takeoff performance, Las Vegas 26 right.
Tuesday is currently 1740.
populate weather and calculate. So sim brief numbers say 51, 58, and 60. Flex 44. Let me go Toga. Bleed auto, anti-auto. So
Line 9 weight, Delta 9852.
that's a flaps 1 takeoff, which I like better. Flaps 1 VR 158.
Region 12, 34, EDT 1743, current time 1739.
I'm going to run sim brief numbers on this. They seem to be a little bit more in line. 51, 58, and 60 is what we're looking for. And we'll talk about this later. 151, 158, and 160. Was it 160 even? 160 even. That's a Toga. So it's a flex of 43. Chat. Airbus learning question. I'll give you the answer pretty much. We're looking right at it. My flex is 43. Can I flex takeoff here legally in a 321? My ACARS numbers came back, says flex 43, flaps 1. Can you flex?
Clear for takeoff, Delta 9852.
Texas 1234, runway 19.
Let's start them up. APU bleed is on, engine mode to ignition start. Starting engine 1. Here we go, turn it 1.
Vegas Tower, good morning. American 298, spot 4 taxi here.
Toga it is, you guys are right, yes. 10 degrees or less from the OAT. So it's if our flex is 43 and the outside air temp is 33. And what's funny is this just happened to me in real life on Monday when we took the 321 out. We had a flex of 43 and the temp was 33. So I think it was actually, I think it was actually the same exact thing. Yeah, you don't want to flex when you're 10 degrees or inside of that. You think we can get 321 likes before takeoff since we're in a 321? We're definitely doing a 2-engine taxi because it's going to be a little bit heavy on the taxi roll here. 176. So let's go ahead and start engine 2. So much IA juice. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Alright, we'll wait for the avail light. There's the bus transfer. How was my trip? Hey, Fubar, it was a great trip, man. Everything, we were on time, ahead of schedule, every single leg. Wonderful couple flights down into Colombia. Had some, I still don't know what I had, a passenger or a friend that was a passenger brought me some Colombian treats. I don't know what they were. I posted it in the Discord. I don't know what it is, but it was delicious. Probably not good for me, but it was absolutely fantastic. All right, so we're going to turn the APU bleed off. We're going to do packs. We haven't decided if we're going to do packs on or packs off yet, but that looks good. 21,000 is set. We got a status message. That's flight control mode zone. Okay, we'll leave that as is. We're doing a flaps 1 now for departure. Flaps 1 is coming out. We'll do this. We'll RMU. Love it. All right. Flight controls, full up, full down. Okay, so see now, why is my side stick defaulting up?
American 298, runway 26 right.
You see
line up
that?
and
26 right for line up anyways, American 298.
And that has to do with... I can't figure this thing out, man.
Walker 1311 on your next right, join Bravo.
Oh my gosh. Controls.
Not a problem. I just got to sequence you in between the Denver departure.
See, when I change the null, so look, it's, and then I'll come here, and then I'll turn this to 0. I just want it to use my Moza software. I don't want it to have to go through the sim, but I have to go through the sim, and then that seems to jack it up. So sensitivity, so you can see I put a little roll in there too. Watch this. I'm going to move the neutral point back. And it's still high up. Saying you can't put 0 in there. Now for some reason it's defaulting at almost 10 up. I don't know. Oh well. I don't know. I can't figure that part out. All right, auto brakes max takeoff config checked. Perf. We'll do this. We're ready to go. Yeah, Las Vegas Tower, Spirit Wings 357, Sierra ready taxi.
Call sign only.
Spirit Wings 357, spot 2. Oh, he said call sign only.
Spirit Wings 357. What runway did you set up for?
We're set up for 26 right, and I'm sorry, we're actually sitting at spot 17, wrong airport.
All right, you're barely readable. You might want to try to move the microphone a little bit closer. Come out of the ramp, left turn Golf, left turn Charlie, hold short 26 right.
Golf Charlie, hold short 26 right, Spirit Wings 357. All right, Golf Charlie.
American 298 is going to be about a minute and a half of the airborne.
I got you.
Brake check, pressure is 0.
Walker 1311.
We're coming out of the ramp, Golf, left turn, and then Charlie.
The MD11 on Bravo 1.
I'm hardly audible on the network.
Yeah, we keep Bravo 1, we can't keep full line.
Yeah, that's fine. As long as you can get in, hold short 26 right, you're going to be going out behind the A321.
Yeah, I blind them. That.
I'll have to look at my settings. Am I not audible on the stream? It's just the network vodka? Let me take a look here once we get straight
American
ahead.
298, you ready to go now?
Ready to go, American 298.
Let's see you go, love to watch you leave. Winds 200 at 8, gust 14, runway 26 right, clear to takeoff.
26 right, clear for takeoff, American 298.
That's why.
Walker
Was wrong.
1311.
Test,
Caution
test,
jet
test.
left, departing A321, runway 26 right up
Test,
Bravo
test,
1,
test,
line up
test, test.
26 right, Bravo 1, on a 4
Test, test, test. Test, test. Output volume? No. Hold on.
Takeoff, good morning. United States
Testing,
487,
testing. All right.
7, I think that's taxi.
I don't know why it's so low.
2487, runway 26
It probably has
right
something
at
to
Bravo
do with
1, taxi via Bravo.
Bravo, taxi, available up to 600 in 1042.
Because every time I turn on my computer, I have to unplug and replug my USB microphone.
Just confirm you're going to Denver.
Because AMD sucks. I will never build another AMD rig.
Spirit Wings 2387, runway 26 right via Golf Charlie.
Never had so many
And Spirit Wings 2387,
like,
expected departure time
miscellaneous
175.2.
issues. Screen's not booting up on first power up, having to unplug and replug USB connections, and it's not the port, because the ports are fine. They have power, they run perfectly. Just weird things like that, man. Weird things. No, it was using the right mic input, Crow, and I set it up before, but I guess maybe when I unplug and replug it every time, maybe it like reset to default. I'm not sure. All right, here's Gulf Charlie. We'll make the left turn, clear left.
Walker 1311, wind 200 at 8, gust 14, climb to the set, runway 26 right, clear for takeoff.
26 right, over takeoff, units at Walker.
Man, there's a lot of people taking off here. All right. So 9.7 degrees tail strike. Make sure we got a nice smooth rotation. So I'm just looking at my flight controls here. And you see how it's defaulting to like nose up slightly? And that'll make you float. And
Spirit Wings 357, high-speed taxi and Charlie's approved.
okay, we'll try to pick it up a little bit here. We try not to smoke our brakes. Never in my life have I ever heard of high-speed taxi on Charlie. It's downhill, and you're going to be cooking those brakes no matter what. There goes a walker. It's a pretty cool VA, man. I feel a lot of people fly that VA. Get the lead. Is anybody behind me? Oh, there's a spiritual behind me. Oh, maybe he's trying to get off the network here real quick. Exclamation point spec, Skizzy. He's hazing you for giving him the radio ASMR? Well, I turned it up now, so it should be louder. Nah, not the Warthog base, Turk. It's weird. It's only with this, with the latest update. Like, when I do the null zone thing here, and then I change it in the Microsoft setting, it like doubles or triples the values in the McDo.
Keep an eye out, center.
Like when I go through my Moza software, it's perfect.
Frequency change approved for
But
American 298.
for some
Thanks, have a great
reason,
day. Bye.
Walker 1311.
There's some conflict happening, I guess, between the software and the...
Keep an eye out for center. Looks like Ben's trying to come up.
We're head to head with the car here. Let's look out the window.
FedEx 22 Kilo Heavy, runway 26 right, clear for takeoff.
26 right, clear takeoff, FedEx 22 Kilo.
Vegas Tower, Legion 682, spot 17, right factory, 26 right.
Legion 682, Golf Charlie, hold short 26 right.
Gulf Charlie, hold short 26 right, Legion 682.
Allegiant. He must fly for American. All right, let's do a... We did all our checks. Our takeoff checklist is complete. We're going out 26 right. That looks good. Somebody's departing. Is that an MD-11? Oh, look at that FedEx MD-11. Looking good. All right. It depends. Are we going to do a packs off takeoff? If so,
Then 2487, caution.
we need 321 likes before takeoff for packs off. If not, we'll kill the APU.
Advice from 26 right. Yeah, 2487.
You're taking so long to take off that I'll be in Aspen to Denver before you get there. Hey, Gus. It's called being a live streamer, man. You just worry about following. You just worry about not hitting any mountains, all right? Last time Gus flew with us, he put it in the mountain, and he was trying not to. It's our C-Fit specialist. Another car head-on the taxiway. Looking over here. Do you have hours in the CFM and FCF? Do you have a preference? IAE's better. Always has, always will be. I remember when only PMDG has amazing wing views, but now, oh yeah, Delta Tango. The wing views on the Fenix, man, I think they're the best in the biz, dude. I think Fenix wing views are the best in the business. PMDG is good. It's good. There's no hiding it, man. PMDG wing views are great, but you could. I almost want to say the 777 wing views are better than the 7.3 wing views. It's probably because I'm biased towards an Airbus, so I guess I have to say that. I'll stand on the CFM hill till I die. Hey, man. They all do the same thing at the end of the day. They all do the same thing at the end of the day. Unless it's a Pratt & Whitney. Well, you said you like the vibrations on the 777-3 sim pilot. What I love about the Fenix is with the flap vibration. So, I don't know if it came out very well through my phone. I was deadheading in the back of a 320, and I was right in this seat right here, and I could see the flaps vibrating on approach, and it looked just like the Fenix. It was so cool. I don't know, does PMDG have flap vibration? I know they have the engine vibes on the triple, but that flap vibration is so cool.
Yeah, 2487, wind 200 at 8, gust 14, runway 26 right, Bravo 1.
All right, we didn't hit 321 views, so we'll do a PAX on takeoff. APU's coming down.
FedEx 22 kilo, contact center 126.525.
I love how we rolled all the way down without touching the thrust. Very realistic.
Spirit Wings 357, Spirit Wings 2387, Allegiant 682, departure. Let's try this again. Departure frequency 126525.
Spirit Wings 357. All right, 26525. Let me dial that in.
Spirit Wings 357, caution jet west, boarding 737, runway 26 right, line up and wait.
26 right, line up and wait, Spirit Wings 357. All right, line up and wait, clear left, jet blast, he's rolling. Only, how is there 600 people and only 300 likes? It's messed up, Bomb Tech. I'm telling you, man. It's all right. Since everybody's lazy, we'll do a lazy takeoff with PAX on. And we'll do it all from the cockpit view. It'll be pretty quiet. It's pretty darn quiet from up front. Ah, it's too late. Too late, chat. Too late. Too late. I tried. Look at that fresh lineup. Want to be about one wheel length just to the left of center line because we got the turtles in the middle of this one. Oh yeah, look at that. That's perfect. So you see, if you were right on the paint, you'd be right on the turtles. So line off about one wheel length over. I wasn't even on the runway. All right.
357, wind 200 at 8, gust 14, runway 26 right, clear for takeoff.
26 right, clear for takeoff. Spirit Wings 357. Because I love y'all. All right, thanks for hitting the like button. PAX are
Spirit Wings
off.
2387, caution jet blast.
That should be on.
traffic
It's on.
from
You guys ready?
right, line up and wait.
Let's do it. Nose forward on the stick. Spool them up 50. Let's go. Yoga. Mantoga SRS runway. Auto thrust blue.
Situation airport approaching 5051.
A little bit of right rudder in there. Might have a little crosswind situation.
Yeah, 2487, contact center 126.
Thrust set. 100 knots. Check. Yeah, a little bit of wind from the left. I can feel it. V1. Rotate. Positive rate. Gear up. Fly with. Oh, baby. That's hot and heavy right there. 33C.
Spirit Wings 2387, I got 2 minutes before I can get you airborne or Benson and Chopin, so 1759 and a half, and I'll get you up.
Roger, sir. 380.
Let's keep that climb going. We'll do a thrust reduction from up here.
Spirit Wings 357, contact departure.
Over departure, Spirit Wings 357. See ya. Thrust climb, climb nav, over to departure.
12,000 feet for flight level 280 on the summit to departure.
Yeah, 3, Los Angeles Center, good afternoon. Radar contact, climb maintain below 280.
Climb and maintain flight level 280 and select 3.
Perf. Departure, good afternoon. Spirit Wings 357. We're 4,400, climbing 210 on the Gidget.
Spirit 357, Los Angeles Center, good afternoon. Climb maintain flight level 210.
Climb and maintain, flight level 210, Spirit Wings 357. All right, climb and maintain. We're thrust climb, open climb, nav.
Good afternoon.
So we're going all the way up unrestricted to 210.
17,04350.
American 298,
Look at that
Los
climb
Angeles
rate,
Center,
1,200 feet per
radar
minute.
contact. Good afternoon, maintain flight level 350.
Oh, let's go pack one on. That's associated.
LA
Center, good afternoon. This is Delta 985.
There's our runway LS mismatch. You see that? That's because that's normal.
Climbing 308 to 370.
Delta 9852, Los Angeles Center, radar contact, maintain level 370.
Having a hard time accelerating
Quadrant
here.
maintain 370, Delta 9852.
Somebody else is calling. Who's that?
I think it almost has to, I think it might have something to do with that. Like now it's defaulting to that.
Rear wings 14.
So I have to add a little forward pressure when I really shouldn't.
Radar contact, climb maintain level 320.
Climb maintain level 320.
And LA traffic, LA tower, American 134 is about 20 miles inbound for 25 left.
It's only 12 here in Scotland. Hey,
Air
Gina, good
134
to
Los
see you,
Angeles
man.
Center, squawk 5122.
Squawk 5122,
Coming
American
up for another
134.
bank angle check to the right.
Good morning, we are to channel left of Takeoff, departure,
Bump to send.
And 2487 Los Angeles Center, good afternoon. Climb maintain level 280.
Look at that VLS coming up. There we go. Now she'll start climbing.
Central Center, with 1010,
Hello, 1010 Los Angeles Center, good afternoon. Radar contact, maintain level 250.
Look how docile this is.
Center
on
about
takeoff,
250,
though.
1010.
All right, we're clean wing. We go pack 2 on. After takeoff checklist
American
complete.
840 on frequency.
How long do you fly manually in real life after takeoff? Depends, man. If it's a takeoff like this, I'll hand fly it all the way out. If it's a straight out runway headache, probably not very long.
Good day, Los Angeles Control.
So I can see here what this is what's going to drive me nuts on this null zone side stick thing. Watch, so like I put it down in the flight director,
Los Angeles Center, radar
and
contact,
I should be able to let go.
Southeast of the
And it's going to it wants to pitch up because my null zone is off.
Then the Ironman 2 arrival, the LA altimeter 2995.
It's just so frustrating.
Carlos people, Polar 916.
Polar 916, radar
That's
contact,
21.
descend Ironman 2 arrival, LA altimeter 2995.
All right, autopilot 1's on just because I'm tired of fighting that side stick. That'll make you float on landing though because it's wanting to put a pitch up input, and I don't know why I can't get rid of it because in my software for Moza, it's perfectly centering all the time. So when I come
387,
here
Los Angeles Center, start contact,
and
climbing
I
tempo
go
level
to
190.
the controls config,
137.
it's showing 10 degrees up input. That makes no sense. If I put a 9 null zone, then this should show 1 input, right? Because if, let's just say that this is accurate. Let's just say right now my hardware shows 9.59 up deflection. Well, if I put a 9% null zone in there, wouldn't the aircraft be 1% up?
Descending on the handle
So I don't understand. If I put 10% null zone, now it should be 0.
at Boyle.
1759 Los Angeles Center, good afternoon, radar contact.
And now it's away.
At
But what's it,
circuit cleared
what's
ILS
it feel like
right
now?
approach.
But now I'm going to have a massive null zone.
Good for the 24 right approach, Delta 1759.
Yeah, see how much
Los
I'm
Angeles
moving
Center,
my hand
American
before I
804
actually
heavy
move
with
the
you,
side
short
stick.
final, 24
Watch how
left
much I
LAS.
move my
American
hand
804
before
wind
the
calm
airplane
runway
reacts. I'm going to
25
pitch
left
up 10 degrees.
Good land 25 left there, keep 04 heavy.
Just now it starts to move up. So, I don't know, man. I mean, that makes sense. I don't know. I got to look at it more. I really don't know.
American 134, wind calm runway 25 left. clear to land,
Calibration's
2.
fine on Microsoft.
25
I
left,
changed the
clear to land,
neutral
number 2,
point
American
in
134.
yes, I changed the neutral point in MSFS settings as well. But anytime I do that, it doubles the output here.
Spirit Wings 357, climb maintain level 350.
Climb to 350, Spirit Wings 357. This guy sounds like a guy from Pilot Edge, doesn't he? 350 is blue. We're climbing up. Look at our climb rate. Okay, back to enough null zone discussion. Looking at our progress page here, optimum 34, max 35.9, cruise 350. So we are gonna max this puppy out here in climb. So we got to keep an eye on that as we start getting up to higher altitudes. We want to make sure that VLS isn't coming up to bite us. It's because you need to use the wing wind stick and give me the Moza XP in the house. Hey, let's talk about this for a minute here. XP72, good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Okay, for those of you, now that we're on the topic of side sticks, we're at 10,000 feet. Let's clean this up here. I went over to XP72's house yesterday. Was it yesterday? 2 days ago. When I was on my 3-day trip. XP was kind enough to pick me up, and I got to try a couple things. I got to try the Wind Wing, what is it? The Ursa Minor, the Wind Wing entry-level Airbus stick. Which is, how much is it, y'all? It's like 70 US, something like that? Or is it more than that? I also got to try VR. We'll talk about that in a minute, but let's focus on the side stick. I was very, very impressed with the Wind Wing side stick, Airbus side stick. Elena Zane, good to see you. Just ordered mine. It was 110 degrees, $110 with shipping.
And Center American 4 Heavy, clear 25 left to Hotel 4, now south on Hotel.
For $110, that Wind Wing stick is a phenomenal piece of hardware for flying Airbus. Let's get the downside out of the way. The only downside that I noticed right out of the gate was the amount of travel in the roll axis specifically. Pitch is a little short too, but it's not so much where you would notice that. You're really only going to notice a difference in travel when you're doing your flight control check, because the amount of times you're going to go full deflection in flight with the side stick should be almost zero. The roll, however, it almost got to the end a couple times. I was doing some laps in the pattern, but the dampening that Wind Wing base, that Wind Wing stick has, it's very good. It was, I don't know if you can make it a little bit tighter, or just a little, maybe like 20% stiffer than what we had set up XP. Maybe not even 20%. Maybe like if you could make it about 10% firmer, but the dampening and just the way it felt in my hand was really, really good. So if you're looking for an entry-level stick, I have to highly, highly recommend that Wind Wing. Sim's louder than me. I'll turn it way down. There you go. That's another thing. Audio on this new PC is all jacked up. Like, I have...
1518 Los Angeles, radar contact 39 miles southeast of the Parker VOR.
I can turn VPilot off. So VPilot's off, but I still hear VPilot in the background. It's weird. But if you're looking for a side stick to get started for Airbus flying, just to get started, that Wind Wing...
Spirit Wing 357, climbing table level 350. I think I already gave you that.
That's affirmative. We're climbing 350, Spirit Wings 357.
Thank you. Spirit Wings 2387.
We're 17.4. Let's go ahead and set standard STDs for you, me, and XP72. But yeah, long story short, highly impressed with that Wind Wing. I thought it could be adjusted to XP. It's on the bottom, right? It said when we open up that cover. I mean, that's a great piece of kit. It really, really is. So, very cool stuff. Now the other thing, Pimax Crystal VR.
Yeah, 2309. Wind bearing with 627, clear to land.
I don't know how to explain it, because listening to XP72 talk about VR on his streams when he first started flying with VR, he was pretty much speechless in what he said. He's like, I don't really know how else to explain it. You have to experience this. I'm telling you, and you'll hear that phrase a lot throughout things. It's, I can't explain it, or it's just you have to see for yourself. And I'm telling you,
XG Kilo, copy.
I flew a couple
American
laps in the pattern. We took up the 319, we flew the 777, the 737, even took up a 152, all in VR. And I had no words. I literally had no words. Now, the key, and XP was right on with this, the key for it to being real life, because it's basically real life, is you have to have a clear picture. The VR headset that I tried at XP's house, it was so crisp and clear. I mean, I was putting my head right into the, like, if you think this looks good right now, through his VR, it looked 100 times better. 100 times better. I could not stop myself from moving my actual hand up here to try to adjust the knobs, grabbing the dash to pull myself forward. Like, I wanted to physically move my hands like I do in the real cockpit because it was that real. It was so real that at one point I was looking out the left here. I was looking out the wing view here, and I was looking at the wing tips. I think it was in the 7.3. And I was turning the airplane. And this is where it actually threw me off. And it's not motion sickness, but I think it's just something you have to get used to, like when you're in VR. I think it's the same as when I first started using Track IR. The first day I used Track IR, I wasn't motion sick. It's just kind of weird getting used to it sometimes. But the airplane was rolling, and I was looking at this view. It felt so real that I thought my body tricked itself, and it started giving me that feeling that I'm actually rolling in real life. And then I looked forward and realized that I wasn't, and it threw me off. I had this like somatogravic illusion, just inner ear mismatch, and it messed me up. Sim is still a tad loud. Dude, I don't know how to fix it. It's all the way down. So ridiculous. I don't know why my mic is so low. I can see that my mic is low. I don't know why. I don't know why my mic is low. It's all the way up. Sometimes when I launch OBS, my mic is blaring your eardrums out, and other times it's too low, and I don't change a single thing. It's AMD, man. AMD sucks. Never build an AMD rig again. But anyway, I can't describe how awesome the experience was in VR. Here's the worst part. Here's the worst part about VR. And I'm still a little bit mad at XP72 for this. He has ruined my 2D flight simming experience. When I took the headset off, I looked at the screen, which I guess is called pancake mode in the VR community, and I was like, this looks awful. It's like comparing X-Plane 10 to MSFS. So think about this comparison. Right now, think about comparing X-Plane 10 graphics to this picture right here. And then think about putting VR on your face and taking VR off. That's what it felt like when I was looking at the screen. I couldn't believe how not good the sim looks when you're not in VR after you're used to flying in VR for a little while. So
Right over the dark side.
the pancake mode got me after I took the headset off. I couldn't believe it. Because how many times have we sat here on stream like, oh, this looks so juice. I mean, and it looks good for pancake mode. It's just, it was a very cool experience. I'm glad I got to try it out. Am I gonna go VR? No, I'm not gonna go full VR like for streaming or whatnot. But what I may do is I may get a VR headset for my own PC at the house, because I don't need screen, I don't need monitors, I don't need any of that stuff. I'll just put the money on a nice VR headset, and I'll fly with that at home, and then we'll just stream here in on regular mode. Because for streaming and interacting with chat and everything, I think it's definitely a little bit more enjoyable from a community experience. But just wild. Just absolutely wild. A couple of questions. Renegade says, I have a question regarding the 321 and 319 expansion. For me, the 321 is getting very slow on VNAV compared to the 19. Is that accurate, the real word? Because I thought the other way around. So the 19 should be slower than the 321 and VNAV descent, though. What do you mean by slower? Like your actual indicated airspeed is getting slow? I haven't experienced...
1571, you voice receiver, text only.
I haven't experienced that, my friend, and we'll see here. We go on a descent down into Denver, but unfortunately I don't have an explanation for that. In my experience, the 321 has been harder to slow down, which is true to real life. It's harder to slow down in the sim for me. When we take in the 319 at Aspen after this next trip, man, I was going to do 2 streams today. I was going to do a stream after this, but I got to get back to work early tomorrow. I flopped my trip around for tomorrow. I wasn't going to start till late, like 10 p.m., but I didn't want to do a red eye, so I swapped into a trip that leaves at 10 a.m., or at least a 10 a.m. report time. So I've only have 1 day off here. I'm going to go spend some time with the kids after this flight. But next week, it starts to open up, chat, and then the month of September, we're going to have a lot of fun because we're going to be doing a lot of simming. I want to do 2 things in September. We're going to have a A319 party. Okay, no 321s allowed. We're going to have an A319 party only. We'll try to set up some sort of like little group flight thing. And then we're going to have a retro-only party. 727, 74 Classic, 73 Classic, A300, MD-80. And we're going to fly somewhere in Colombia. I really, really wanted to be here for... What is it, for Saturday? They're doing a Columbia 727 event. Unfortunately, I don't get in till about 11 p.m. on Saturday when I come back. So I'll be missing that official sanctioned event, but have no fear. Once I come back and the flying subsides real life, we're doing a 72/classic aircraft group flight, and we're also doing a 319 party. So.
298 Lima Airspace.
What a wrong side. Wrong side's in the house. What's up, my man?
Change route, Denver Center offline, switch to advisory.
Hello from the other side of the virtual world. Was this your first time in VR? Also big up for letting you put your greasy face in the VR. Was that for us?
Switch to advisory, enjoy the flight.
Oh, it wasn't. Wrong side. Yeah, shout out, man. Definitely, he not only did he pick me up and let me put my greasy face in the VR headset, he drove 30 minutes to come pick me up, 30 minutes on the way back. But I'll tell you what, XP is one hell of a driver, man. We're cruising back to the hotel. We're just casually chatting. He's doing like 120 miles an hour. Just casual conversation speed. Now I know how he's got that itch for driving F1 on stream. I mean, it was awesome. It was an awesome night. So love that. The hand of God was able to cook a wonderful meal for us, and just a wonderful overnight.
From Kobe, right turn 220, maintain 2,500. Till established on the localizer.
Aaron says, I was flying my 152 once, and I put my phone on the seat next to me for safekeeping. Then I remembered I was in VR, and my phone was now on the ground. Aaron, so speaking to that notion, first let's do a little climb check here. Look at our climb rate, y'all. At 29,000 feet, 1,200 feet per minute. That is very accurate for this way. We're 171,000 pounds. Just ballpark number in here. This is very accurate. This is a great job here as far as climb performance is concerned. And if you're a commercial member and you've seen some shorts videos, because now all shorts videos are commercial members only, because I want to give back to the commercial guys and gals that support the channel. You've seen videos of this, and this is spot on. This is real life. So very cool to see this poor climb performance. Which it's kind of weird to say. I'm happy to see poor climb performance. Definitely flying over a mid part of the U.S. right now. What's up with the ortho down there? Not looking very juice. Have my settings turned out? Hold on, give me a second. General options. Oh, why is it 140? Those are rookie numbers. Let's go at least 250. I don't know if it'll make a difference, though, since we're up high. A little bit. There we go. I don't know why I was at 140. Maybe because I was messing around. Okay, but what Aaron was saying about flying the 152. So, and this is something that XP said. So we flew the Fenix first. Then I flew the 7.3, and he's like, okay, you got to try the wide body. So I got in the 777. And what is crazy about VR is when you sit in these different cockpits, when you're playing 2D, everything feels relatively the same, right? Like, I can't sit here and say that the 777 cockpit is that much larger than this Airbus cockpit when I'm looking at my 2D screen. When you put the VR headset on, you can feel exactly how big the cockpit is. You can see how far the panel is in front of your face. You can see how wide the center pedestal is. You get that depth perception of size around you, and not just the cockpit. You actually have a feeling that the airplane is this mass behind you. When I look out and I see the wingtips out there on the 19, it was like you have this real sense of I'm flying, I'm sitting up front of a large piece of metal with wings. So for contrast purposes, we were in the 777, and then he's like, hey, jump in the 152 with the VR headset on.
Floor 916, wind
From the 777 to the 152 in VR, I literally like shrunk my shoulders in instinctively. So I'm like, oh man, we're a tight, cramped cockpit here. It was a awesome experience. And the key is having smooth picture, no jitters, no tearing, and a clear picture. It has to be clear, because if your brain is so.
Runway 357, Lima Aerospace Northeast, air service terminated. Frequency change approved. Denver Center offline. Switch to advisory.
Over to advisory. Thanks for the ATC for Spirit Wings 357. See you.
Takeoff.
Your mind is so tricked into believing that you're in the actual space of reality, of virtual reality, that if you detect that it's not real, it'll mess you up. So like if you are stuttering, and I can only imagine, I think there was one time I was in the pattern, I like looked down and there was like one stutter because I switched something around, and it's almost like being in the level D sim when the aircraft is repositioned. So a lot of times, sometimes the instructors will say, hey, don't look, I'm going to reposition you. Because if you're in the sim and your body is believing the movements and everything that it's seeing, and then you take it out of that reality, it can, I don't know if motion sick is not really the right word, but it'll mess you up internally. It gives you like a weird feeling. So it has to be smooth and it has to be clear. And his was the Pimax Crystal Light, and it was incredible. I can't imagine where the technology is going to go, 5 years from now. It's good. Does the VR headset jitter as much while watching it on streams? No, Nabil, and that's why it's. And XP and I were discussing this too. It's, you don't realize how much your head is moving in real life when you're in VR. So, or how much movement is actually being detected. When you have the VR headset on, the viewer looking at a 2D screen can see every little micro movement. That's what makes it a less than enjoyable. That's maybe it just makes it a harder experience to watch when you're watching someone in VR, I think. But if you keep your head really, really still, you can still watch it and everything. But it looks completely different through the headset. In the headset, it just looks like you're sitting in the airplane and you move around just a tad. You move your head like a 1/16 of an inch and you see exactly where you should see. But the outside experience is a little bit more jittery and a little bit more aggressive. Inside the headset, it's completely smooth. And you can move your head all the way in to see the knobs, and you can see every little detail. I can't say enough good things about it. And look, I am no way sponsored by any VR company. I'm just sharing with you how of an incredible experience it was to go through that. So, sounds like a recipe for me to projectile vomit. Well, I think XP did. He sprayed me with his ginger ale, though. He was laughing at me because I was in jaw drop mode. It's wild when I sit in the Fenix in VR and I get annoyed at how obstructive the tablet is. I immediately reach out and try to put it away because I'm afraid I'll knock into it. Yes, I noticed that too. It's like, gosh, I just want to get it away. I noticed that in the PMDG when I had it up on the window. I was like, I got to put it down to get rid of it. In VR, you see things you'd not normally see in Pancake, especially around the cockpit. Captain Will, you're absolutely right. Things pop out at you that you would not even that you wouldn't even tell. So like looking here in pancake mode, you can see, oh, there's some texturing around this, right? You would actually see in VR that this is another panel attached to this panel. It's got its own, I mean, you can see that, and you can kind of see it in pancake mode here, but you don't see it in dimension. In VR, you see it in dimension. It's just craziness, absolute craziness. All right, set manage speed. We'll worry about that here in a minute. Let's get the AOC, receive messages, operations. We'll go ahead and no ADC required. Beautiful. We're leveled out. Let's do some airplane things here for a minute. Let's put Denver on the progress page. Everything looks good there. We'll do a secondary. We'll get rid of our old. We'll copy the active secondary for Denver. That looks good. We're 393 miles out. We don't really need terrain mode up anymore. We'll get rid of that. We're doing 7-8 Mach. It's a smooth ride. We'll turn the seatbelt sign off. You're now free to move about the cabin. Let's enjoy some external juice 321 views. I don't know where to put the camera on this 320. It's so long. Oh, that's a hell of a livery right there. I mean, look at that. You can see it in all its glory. Turn it back down. No delay code. No delay code. Did I clear nav? What do you mean? Why would I clear nav? Everything's fine. We're going Turker. We're looking good. I'm gonna have to unsubscribe here from you and XP72. You guys are costing me too much money in space. Oh man, I don't know, dude. It just was. I've always thought that it can't be that good. You know, people talk about VR saying, "Oh, it's incredible," and I just didn't. I'm sure it's cool, but if I put it on, I'm sure I'd feel like, oh, you know, whatever. No, you put it on, and it's like, it's better than even the most pessimistic expectation that I would have. It's crazy. It's crazy how good it is. When I couldn't stop instinctively moving my hands to try to reach for things in the cockpit, that's when you know it's a hell of an experience. I mean, I literally could not stop my hands from trying to grab switches or pull myself forward or aft. So now I know what the rave is all about when it comes to VR. Sky Flyer Dan, you're absolutely right. I've tried to describe it here, but I probably just sound like a babbling idiot because no matter how I try to describe it, until you experience it hands-on, it's there's really nothing I can say to really describe it in its true form. All right, let's get some tracks on. Let's start with this. What's a good track from Perfect Espresso? All right, we're cruising. About another 100 miles, and we'll start talking about Denver, high altitude, brake energy, tail strike avoidance, all that good stuff here. Yes, I cleared the hard. I believe I did, Robin. Let me double check. I'm pretty sure I did. Maybe not. I did not. Thank you. Clear the RadNav out of 10. So you guys saw that we had that LS mismatch in the McDo. That's real life. So because we didn't clear it, but now it's cleared. It'll auto tune. It'll do its own thing. So we're good to go now. We're 7.8 Mach, 35,000 feet, smooth sailing. Zippy. Yes, it is some cruise music, my man. Guys, there a way to move the FOEFB? Yes. Yes, Dougal, right here. Click on the, depending on how it's mounted, right there, click on that mic. Microphone will get rid of it. Let's go realism mode here. It's probably my favorite cruise track. Look at that. Are you able to listen to music while you're working? No. You mean the flying? No. Andy says, I was talking to XP about VR earlier. Now hearing your account of it, you're making a pretty solid case to switch to VR. Andy, I never want to say, oh, this is what you have to do, or this is what you should do, because everybody's different. However, I will, when it comes to VR, I would highly suggest trying to find out how to at least experience it before going all in, because it's not going to be cheap. Before going all in on it, see if you can find a way to get an experience with it first to make sure it's your thing. Now, if it's my thing, XP's thing, great. If it's somebody, it may not be somebody else's thing. So I never want to just sit here and be like, oh, you have to do it or you're missing out on everything. Because in all honesty, right now, streaming and doing what I do with the channel, I enjoy this. I enjoy being able to sit here. I'm sipping on my my boba tea, and we're chatting and having conversation. But if I was at home and kids are out, wife is out, you know what I'm going to be doing? I'm going to put that VR headset on. I'm going to do a flight. So it's something that I highly, highly recommend you trying to experience. And when you get the experience, try to get the right experience. And like I said, the two keys are going to be clarity of image and smoothness. If you don't have clarity or smoothness, you're not going to enjoy it. At least that's how I would feel. Moza, Pimax, Bruner, Windwing. My girlfriend is going to kick me out for sure. P6. Hey man, just set low standards, under promise, and then over deliver, right? Like, oh, this is what I have to get. And then if you only get two of those things, then she'll be happy, right? Like, I have, Moza, Pimax, Bruner, Windwing. And if you just end up with a Moza and a Pimax, she'll be happy. Like, look, babe, I didn't buy a Bruner. I didn't buy a Windwing. Less girlfriends, more money. There you go. The reason I do not use VR is because I'm getting from PC all the time. Kids and wife around, I feel isolated. Yes, V-Pilot. And that's the other thing too. So for me, this is very much a business venture, right? My streaming setup, my rig is set up at an actual office location. So I'm isolated either way. But when I started the channel and it was at the house, yeah, I would be nervous putting on a headset with the wife and kids running around because I don't know what's going to happen, who's going to run up on me. But yes, it's just something that I recommend somebody just try it. Got to try it. Dougal says my first VR experience was for target acquisition in my FAC training. That's awesome, Dougal. Earl, yes. So Earl is saying, well, somebody invents sensory gloves that would give you the contact experience and feedback, then maybe a flight suit for the total experience. Well, I didn't use any like of the switch clickers where you can move your hands and click things. But if there was a glove that could sense what you're doing and manipulating the switches, that would be key, because being able to reach up and touch stuff with your hand would be next level. Absolute next level. Can you still enjoy window and outdoor view? Yes, Scotty too. So, I was flying around and XP threw me into the wing view. And even though this wing view looks great right here, in VR, you can sense the size and the distance of the wingtip from you so much better. I mean, it literally looks real. If you think this looks real, which this looks pretty darn good. We got the COVID and monkeypox on the window and everything. This looks pretty real. If you looked at this in VR, you would have to really look for signs that it is not real. And that's also actually scary to think about. If you consider the state of our world and how things are going, and VR and AI, it's actually kind of scary when you think about what could be happening. So, because the this is, I still believe we're still in early generations of like this technology of VR and AI. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, what are you going to put in 2 contacts and you're going to be in VR? Wild. Yeah, this is flight level 410 jet, Gus. Exactly. I think V1 might be hooked. It was crazy, Dougal. It's crazy, man. Are the engines more powerful in the 320 and one would think a longer aircraft? Yes, swim and climb. So they are the same engines. They're all derated differently. So the 321 has the highest thrust output because it's the largest airplane. That also means it's got the loudest noise. So CFM put on those little chevrons in the back to kind of reduce the noise because you're going to be running a higher thrust output, which means more sound. 320, it's derated more than the 21. The 19 is the most derated of the 3. However, the 319 from a pilot experience is still the loudest of the 3 because you're closer to the engines. I have seen the movie Wall-E. Man, it's been a while. Music feels like a shroom ceremony after Burning Man. Do I like the song to do? That's almost over. This one's called Chill Out Lounge. So it makes sense. 1.6 EPR on the 321 sounds wild. Yeah, and it was one we were getting. It's not fun. I wish I had it with me. So I took notes of like the EPR and from takeoff and then through different altitudes, which I'll have to on the next 321 stream. We'll do that. I will compare my notes for. I took like a 10,000 foot EPR and fuel flow. I took a 18,000 fuel flow and EPR, and I think 24. Never understood why they derate the engines, bro. Because if you put 321 thrust on a 319, you'd have a freaking F-16, dude. If you reach out to say to the pedestal in VR is about the same distance from the depth, it matches up. Ionis, yes. And in the cockpit, so in the Airbus cockpit, this panel is not as aggressive in front of you as it is in a 7.3. And when I switched into the 7.3 from the Fenix to the 7 from the PMDG and VR, I immediately noticed the panel shape was different and more aggressive and more cramped. And I also immediately acknowledged the fact of, this is why I do not want to fly a 737. Way cramped, yoke in your lap, panels sticking way out, switches everywhere. It just looked like chaos. Just chaos cockpit, man, compared to the bus. And I had that feeling immediately switching into the 7.3 in VR. Now the triple was very nice. I mean, the room in the triple, in the PMDG 777, there's a flight bag right back here behind the seat in one of the cubbies, and I swear I could grab it and pull out my iPad or something. It looked so real. It was the perfect distance away, and it really gave you a sense of how big the cockpit was. Like I was looking at the 2 jump seats back on the wall, and just crazy, man. Very, very cool experience. It was so cool going flaps 1 of the 19 in VR, turning around and seeing the slats come out. Yes, Aaron, that's what I love about the 19 too. You can see a lot more of the wing, and I almost always do that, Aaron. In the 19, check it. I always watch the slats deploy from visually, just because it's just, I love it, man. I love it. You know, as a kid, I was sitting on the window view right here, looking out, watching the slats come out. In the 19, it's awesome. And in VR, Aaron, when you look, I mean, you see, I'm not kidding you, dude. The amount of wingtip that you see in VR on the 19 is exactly the amount of wingtip you see in real life. Like, it's exact. The only thing stopping you is in real life is you have a physical window that you can't put your head any closer. Just crazy. I can't say anything other than crazy and wild, and just go try it. Hopefully at the next FS Expo there'll be a VR booth. I don't know if they were there at the last one. I am fully intending on going to the next one. I wanted to go to the last one. It just worked out that I decided to move across the country. The last 2 expos, how about that? The last 2 expos, I was in the middle of moving across the country at both of them. But The next one I really fully plan on going to, and I'm sure there'll be some type of VR there. At least I hope there is. And that would be the place and time to try it. I've been in the 777 cockpit real life once, and it's more cramped than it looks. Even the pilot said the 7.8 was more comfortable. The 7.8 is comfortable. I've been on the jump seat of both. The 7.8, most recently, I jump seated on a 7.8 from LA to Dallas, and it was a pretty darn roomy cockpit. Pretty darn roomy. But it looks like it's put together from Radio Shack and Walmart, man. I don't like the 7.8 cockpit. The look of it just looks cheap. I don't know how else to explain it. The switches, the panel, the coloring. Just looks like Radio Shack and Walmart got together. Maybe Best Buy and Walmart. Best Buy and Walmart. The Plastic Princess. VR was big at Expo 24. Nice, Digital Merc. Yeah. Good. That's where, if you guys are wondering about it, maybe don't commit yet until you get to try it. And if you go to the Expo, then you'll be able to try it. Because it's worth trying, 100%. I went to the 7.5. Oh yeah, 7.5 cockpit is tight, dude. 7.5 cockpit's pretty tight, especially jump seating. Ugh. Does the lack of tactile buttons ruin the immersion when you're in VR? Rasmus, it doesn't ruin the immersion, but it doesn't help. If you could physically move switches, it'd be even better. But I know what you mean. But it doesn't ruin it by any means. You know you can level the drone cam by hitting the space bar. Yeah, I know. I think I have space bound to something, though, so I don't want to use it. Will you ever fly X-Plane ever again now? I'm not going to say never, but I'm going to say it is not on the horizon. Let's just say that. No, I fly for Southwest, actually. SVTJ. I fly Airbuses at Southwest. How are you enjoying the 19 and 21? Any boys love them, man. Absolutely. The 19's my favorite. I've always said this. The 320 to me is the least fun to fly in real life because it's the most mid. You got to pick one. You either got to go big or go small. 321, it's unique, it's fun, it's bigger, it's heavier. You can beat back on the turbulence a little bit. 19, you got the little sports car you're riding around on, and I like both of them better than the 320. So having both of them in the sim now, we'll probably only fly that. I don't know the next time we'll fly a 320, chat. It's going to be a while, that's for sure. It's going to be a while before we fly a 320 again. Chief Pilot Southwest A220. That's how I met Wingnut, his Robin, exactly. I fly the 220s, yes. I fly the 220s at Southwest. When the 7.5, 350, and 380 comes out, all the big name streamers like V1XVHD will have to stream 5 days a week minimum. Yeah, it'll be pretty. There's going to be a lot of that. I mean, we spent pretty much the majority of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 has been in what, the 737 and the 320. Now, I really try to break it up. I try to fly F-28, the 727 a lot recently. But honestly, you think about the fidelity of aircraft that we had the 7.3 and a 320. That was pretty much the majority of the lifespan of Microsoft Flight Sim, the first one. For 24, I think we're going to have a lot more. We're going to have the MD-11, which is, I'm never going to fly again because the TFDI website pissed me off this morning. So I'm never going to fly the MD-11 again, even though I just got my MD-11 throttles. I have the fully ProDes Sim MD-11 throttle setup, which I'm going to try. But I'm going to try it on the 727. We'll have the 380, the 350, a 7.5, a 7.6 down the line. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, 747 PMDG. Come on. It sure looked like a 747 to me on that 777 freighter post they posted. If we get a 7.4 from PMDG in Microsoft 24, then I can probably confidently say I'll never fly X-Plane again. But until then, Till then, I'm hanging on. Jeremy, good to see you, man. I'm glad you like VR. Was it easy to read? Yes, Jeremy. It was. That's why I said in order for VR to be enjoyable, you have to have a headset and a setup that is crystal clear. Because the text and the size of things that you're looking at is the same size of things in real life. So if it's not a clear picture, you're not going to be able to read it, and that's going to ruin the experience. But the one that I tried, the way XP had his set up, I could sit in the seat comfortably and literally read all of these. I could read everything here. Now, in 2K, I can read pretty much everything in the cockpit here on pancake mode, but that's a huge part of it, is having a setup that is clear. Yeah, the future is definitely exciting, man. Oh yeah, we got the Fokker 70 and 100. Guys, don't count out Just Flight, man. Just Flight, they're top dog developer too. Just because we haven't flown it in a while. You know what airplane I fly at my home sim? F-28. It'll hopefully be a classic 7.4. Oh, McAllen, if it's a classic 7.4, don't get me excited. But if it is a classic 7.4, as long as it's a... Here's my preference, McAllen. Classic 7.4. If it can't be a classic, please be a 400. Don't be an 800. If it's an 800, I will still love it. But I want either a classic, if it's got to be a more than classic 400. Because the PMDG 744, if it ever drops, we're going Quito, Ecuador. We're recreating the FSX missions. And then we're also doing the Typhoon landing. Was it Singapore? Who remembers FSX missions in the 747? Because when PMDG dropped it for FSX, that's what I did. I did the missions, but I did it in the PMDG 74. And that's when I realized, man, PMDG is no joke. Because it was so much different going from the default 7.4 that they had you in the missions to then PMDG 7.4 still fly that same mission. Do you still need track IR with VR? Say Toga, I don't believe you do. You're not going to use both at the same time, so you won't need it. But if you're planning on not using VR and you want to look around, then you would. Like if you want to take the headset off and cruise or something. But as far as being in the headset or under the headset, no, you don't need VR, or you don't need a track IR with VR. You're absolutely right, Jeremy. They're not that different from a cockpit standpoint, but I want the liveries of the 400. I want the liveries, and I want to recreate the flights that I've been on in the 400. Zippy FO check-in, Captain. Music audio is a little too loud. All right. I'm just gonna plug up my old PC. I'm so done. I'm just gonna use my old PC for streaming again. It's perfect. Top of descent ETA, very close. Ooh, oh, look at that view. We should probably start thinking about 206 miles, yeah. We'll let this song play out, and then we will go to work. Because it's about time to go back to work. So we got about 3 minutes here. Ooh, did you see that lightning down there? Did you guys see the lightning in my shorts video? Pretty juice. Sit down with us after stream so we can fix it. Zippy, I don't know how you would fix it, because here's the thing. I will configure it perfectly. The next time I start the computer, everything's different again. Everything's off again. So it's weird, man. It's AMD. It's AMD. Never using AMD again. I want United 744. I can't wait. Yeah. Did you try turning it off and on again? I did, Water, and that's the problem. I tried VR a couple of years ago, and I thought it was really cool, but only like 70% there to make it an everyday thing. I also got sick the more I used it. Buckeye Fly, yeah, and especially if you tried several years ago. I'd be curious if you tried it again, tried some of the latest tech, and then reassess. But like I said, it's probably not for everybody, because I know people get motion sickness with just using track IR or like something like a Toby, right? Then you have, there's epilepsy and things that can happen for everybody that's different, right? So it's obviously, it's not a one size fits everyone. That's why I say get your hands on it to try it and then make the decision. I agree. Upgrade your BIOS. Make sure you don't brick it. Well, that's the thing. I don't want to brick it. I don't want to. Probably using a really old BIOS. Romulus, I probably am, dude. I probably am. What's our destination? We are going into Denver. Flight Beam Denver. Digital Merc says my Reverb G2 is now very clear on a 4080 Super. Looking forward to my Pimax coming in a couple weeks. Oh yeah, Digital Merc. I'm looking forward for you, dude. I got the same 4080 Super that XP has. Maybe I should try to get one. Nah, just kidding. Not yet. I'm using a 7800. Oh no. I don't know what motherboard I have. It's in the specs. It's I can't remember, dude. Patrick Borkman, thank you for the $5 super chat. Really appreciate that, dude. Thanks for the support, man. Inatical, good to see you, man. Just got done with my first week of college. My major is aviation. Very cool. Very cool, man. Jonathan, I agree, man. I think this is one of the best 321 liveries right here. Love this livery on the 321 because you need something to cover the whole size of the airplane. It's a long fuselage to just have all one color. All right, it's time to go to work. Music is done. Sim sounds are coming back up. All right. Water, thanks for the $5 super chat, my man. Appreciate it. Or the 5 gifted memberships, I should say. Thank you, Water. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for the support. A residential naval member. All right, McDo Atsu. Let's pull some weather informations. Let's see what the old Denver's looking like. Son of a gun. Alright, Denver on the horizon, terrain mode on ND. We need to get our EFB back up here. Ty, that's what I have. I haven't updated it since I built it, so. Yeah. Yeah, man. Probably need an update. Alright. Why do I keep doing that? I feel like I've never used to do that. Now I'm constantly just hitting the back button. Alright, Ski 3 RNAV arrival. We're landing north. Let's find out here. So, for right now, can you guys hear the sim? For me, I can barely hear the sim. 340 at 9, gust 16. Ooh, 10 miles. Scattered. Remark, yada yada. Alright. Next phase, next phase. So, we're coming down over the Rockies, real world here. I'm not going to come down at 340 because it's always bumpy, especially in the summertime. So, coming down 340 knots is a recipe to overspeed. So, we're going to come down at 300 knots. I just got rid of it. Dang it. Sim volume is good. That's what's crazy to me. I don't know how it's the same. I'm going to turn it down on your end. Try to turn it up on my end. You oversped your MD-11 at 0.9 Mach? uh, 3020. 3020. Temperature is 27. 340 at 9. Phoenix needs a printer. We need a printer. That's the last thing Phoenix needs. I agree with you. All right. As far as approaches, let's plan 3-4 left. Actually, would it be 3-4 right? Don't they depart 3-4 left? We'll land 3-4 left, I guess. So we'll go to all. We'll go to approach charts. 3-4 left. You won't do X-plane again because you can't install. Yes. 3-5. Why would we land on 3-5? I'm not flying across the airport. Land on 3-5. We're gonna land on 3-4 left here. We'll come off the. We'll have to sync it up. Gnarly teller. We got teller in there. It's 11 mandatory. So I'm going to set 11,000 right now. .34 right, 3-5 right, and 3-5 left in use in real life. Well, screw them. Not real life. We'll land on 3-5. We're landing at 3-4 right. Thanks again, AJ, for the $3 super chat. Yeah, I probably wouldn't even know where to download it from, AJ. So, X-plane is probably not going to happen for a while. Probably not going to happen for a while. Our minimums, looking at our 3-4 left approach chart, is 55.27. High altitude, and that's going to lead us into our next conversation just before we start down here. Let's run some landing data. We'll do good. We're landing 3-4. What did we just say? 3-4 right. Wait, did we load up 3-4 right? 3-4 left. Mother of pearl. What do we got? We have 3-4 right in the box. So we need the 3-4 right chart. Screw that. All right, 3-4 right. We'll land 3-4 right. It's in the box already. Looking at the wrong chart. .34 right ILS is 55.54. 3-4 right, 3-4 right, 3-4 right, 55.54. Running our landing data. We'll apply the METAR, variable at 6, landing weight. So right now we are 167. Ooh. What's the max in Phoenix world? Phoenix world max is 166. So we're going to be a little bit overweight, aren't we? I was trying to get our actual landing fuel. So we're 10.6 on landing. We're 11.4, so that's 4 and 4. That's 800 pounds from now. We're going to be 160. Let's just say 166 even. .166 even, low brakes. We're using max reverse to help cool the brakes. Flaps full, manual landing. Okay, let's talk about this real quick because tail strike avoidance is a big deal. High altitude, high density altitude is a big deal. And there could be some misconceptions about what we need to do to help minimize the risk of a tail strike. X Creel SX, thank you for the $10 super chat, man. I appreciate that. Just had my 321 become possessed going max power and turning itself into the ground with no ability to control it at the end of a 4-hour flight. Uh-oh. Well, I really hope we don't encounter that. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. I'm really sorry that that happened to you. Stick around. Hopefully we don't have the same experience. Almost sounds like a conflicting binding that you might have hit or something and sent it into a tailspin. I'm not sure, man. But thank you so much for that $10 super chat. Appreciate the support. And here we go. We're going to manage speed. Down we go. Mach descent. We're going to expect some turbulence. Seatbelt sign is coming on. Terrain mode is on. Manage speed for descent is 7. If I manage it up, what are you going to give me? That works. Yep. Manage speed on the descent. We'll put the TCAS into below mode. And outside air temp is 43. We're going to be going over some precip. We'll get the engine anti-ice on here as we descend into some of this light cloud layer. Virtual Flight Dyers also dropping in a $10 super chat. Virtual Flight Dyers, I really appreciate that. Thank you for the support. Tuning in late, this 321 is starting to be my favorite in the sim. So much fun to fly. I might be the new Airbus convert. Hey, that's what I love to hear, Virtual Flight Diaries. We're converting everybody to Airbus. The right side. Appreciate you, man. Join the table side. Exactly. Virtual Flight Diaries, thanks for that $10 super chat. We're just starting our descent down into Denver. All right. Below mode, is that included in VR? HR is coming after you, Scotty. All right. So, Denver, I'm going to tell you a little story, brief story about my first experience as a young FO, thinking I was super smart, coming into Denver. We're flying into Denver. I'm new to the airplane. I'm on a 321. It's summertime. What do they tell you about flaps 3, flaps full landings in training, at least for us? Well, flaps full is our normal procedure. Flaps 3 is a normal procedure, but it is kind of a technique or a strategically used normal procedure. The biggest advantage of a flaps 3 landing, going to get a little speed brake action in here to keep us from speeding over there. The biggest advantage to a flaps 3 landing is for going around and having a higher energy state in a go around, or a higher energy state in a gusty wind scenario where maybe wind shear is present and you have a large gap between the steady state wind and the gust. So 340 at 6 gusting 2.5, that might be a check in the flaps 3 column if you have other conditions. But really that benefit of flaps 3 is to help you clear terrain and have more energy in a go around. The biggest downside to a flaps 3 landing in the 321 CEO is that you're actually going to come in at a little bit of a higher deck angle, so you're not helping yourself with tail strike avoidance. You're actually hurting yourself a little bit. You're also going to come in a little bit faster. You come in a little bit faster, you have a higher true airspeed, you're also going to have a higher ground speed. So your ground roll is going to be a little bit increased because you're coming in faster at flaps 3. So it's a strategic use to do it. And there are times when a flaps 3 landing is absolutely the right call to use. So here I am, I'm a new FO, we're coming into Denver. Similar scenario, it's hot, it's gusty. There was wind shear advisories, but there wasn't any wind shear like going on actively. It's just there were some advisories going on. I said, okay, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to use flaps 3, but I'm going to use medium brakes to help slow me down because we're going to be coming in faster, and it's Denver, and you're going to have a higher true airspeed, faster ground speed. So I'm going to use medium brakes to slow me down to counteract the higher approach speed. I'm using flaps 3 in case we have to go around for wind shear. And to help save the engines, I'm going to use idle reverse. That is the absolute worst case scenario for your brakes. Medium brakes, idle reverse, and flaps 3. So you're coming in faster, the brakes got to work harder. You're not using full reverse, brakes are going to work harder. And it's also hot in Denver, so they're working hard anyway. Before we cleared the runway, or as we cleared the runway, the brakes were like 300, 350. I think by the time we got to the gate, they were 500C. Now, the captain, he knew this was going to be a problem. He used it as a teachable moment, and we debriefed it, and he's like, so I wanted, this was like probably one of my first handful of landings in a 321. He's like, so now I agree where your head was at as far as using the flaps 3 landing for the wind shear advisories, but you also have to consider the other things going around here. We have a very long runway, 16,000, 12,000 foot runway here in Denver. We are keeping this airplane on our second leg, so it's not like this airplane is parking overnight. We're taking it right back out in 30 minutes. We do not have brake fans on this particular aircraft. So while you had the right idea as far as wind shear cautions, you kind of missed the beat on everything else. If you were going to do what you did, you should have at least gone medium brakes, full reverse to help the brakes reach their deceleration rate faster and using less kinetic energy to slow them down. But it was a teachable moment, and guess what? I never made that mistake again. So Wasn't mad or anything. We just had to sit there. And on the subsequent taxi out, guess what our brake temps were after sitting at the gate for 45 minutes and our taxi out? They were still over 300 C. So it was a very ginger taxi to the runway, and we ended up making it out just fine. So in today's scenario, we have a high gust factor. Not super high, but it's, I think it was at 6 knots gusting 20 or something. But there's no wind shear. We've got plenty of runway, and it's not like there's no thunderstorms or anything around us. It's not, we don't need the extra controllability or higher energy. So we're going to stick with the norm. We're going to go flaps full, reverse. We're going to go flaps full, manual brakes, reverse full. So what I'm going to do with that, when I go manual brakes, I'm not going to apply this. The auto brakes aren't going to kick on until I obviously apply brake pressure. So if I use that reverse to help get that initial deceleration going, now I can really save the brake temps. And in real life, if we're landing at Denver and the temperature is 27 C in a 321 here, even manual brakes, full reverse, I guarantee you by the time we get to the gate, they'll be probably close to 300 C. Just because of our deceleration at this altitude. We'll keep an eye on our ground speed as we're on short final, even at flaps full. And just imagine the effect if we were at flaps 3. We'd be going even faster. So flaps 3, don't just assume you're going flaps 3 because there's a little bit of wind. And flaps 3 does not help you with tail strike avoidance. It actually hurts you. And it also hurts you in your ground roll. So using flaps 3 at high density altitude airport, not ideal. Now, if we're coming in here and there's thunderstorms and there's airplanes going around because of wind shear, you betcha I'm going to use flaps 3. Because what's more important, hot brakes or being able to clear terrain in the event of a wind shear and you're going around? I want to be able to clear that terrain and go around in a wind shear. So every situation is situational. It's one of my least favorite sayings to say. Situations are situational. In this situation, we're doing flaps full, manual brakes, full reverse. Patrick Borkman, thanks for the $5 super chat, man. Appreciate that. It says, V1, do you cut the throttles at 30 or do you reduce them gradually, or does it depend? Patrick, it depends every single flight, every single landing that you do. Sometimes you cut them at 30, sometimes you cut them at 50, sometimes you hold them in until you're in the flare because you get the sink rate. It just depends. Every landing is its own situation. And what are situations? Situations are situational. Michael Buck, thanks for the $5 super chat as well. V1 from Syracuse. Hey, Jets, Jets. Michael Buck, what's up, man? Thanks for the $5 super chat. Thanks for supporting the channel. Glad to have you here, man. Hope you enjoyed the landing. Situations be situationing, exactly. All right, we're 16 for 13. We've run our landing data. We can do it. We'll pull up our charts again. We're on Unicom. We should make a radio call. Denver traffic. Spirit Wings 357 out of 15.5 descending via the Ski 3 for the 3-4 right ILS. Denver traffic. Syracuse is build territory. I know. Even more reason to be a Jets fan. Ain't nobody got time to be a Bills fan. More speed brake here. Stay on profile. Just getting a little bit high coming over the mountains. We'll get flight recorder ready. We get our cams on. Cams on. Flight recorder. What happened to that camera? What darnation? Oh, it's fine. All right. What's the route? Las Vegas to Denver. Let's take a look at our VAP speed, 145. Here's another thing that we can consider. So if there's a high gust factor, 340 at 9 knots, gusting 20, so a 10 knot gust factor, I'm going to take a look at my approach speed and my VLS when we're on final. If that approach speed is really hovering close to that VLS, which it's going to be semi-close, I might actually add a couple more knots here just to give me that little bit of buffer on the VLS. Now, look at this. This is a real spice. This is true to life here. Look at, we got the speed brakes out. Look at VLS. I'm trying to slow down to 210. I I can't do it. I got to stow the speed brake here to get below the flap extend speed, and then get that flap extension back, or then the speed brake back out. Look how tight that window is. Just like real life. Now that I got it out, let's get the speed brake back out. Give me some more cushion. You don't want to overspeed the flaps and have to ride it up. We'll also select 210 knots here on the approach. We're not going to come all the way back. Easy there, thrust levers. 210 knots, selected speed. We'll activate and confirm. We already flew through the decel point though. There we go. But what you can do though is we can add a couple knots. 3 knots, 2 knots. You don't want to add too much here without resending landing data though, because if you start adding, 5, 7, 8, 9 knots, now you're lying to your landing data, and you want to make sure you run proper landing numbers for the speeds that you're going to be flying. There's a pack of lemons cutting each other off over Denver. Be careful. All right, Zippy. I assume that higher VLS with spoilers is down to degraded lifting power of the wings. Yes. So think angle of attack. Lifting power, while semi-correct, a technical term would be angle of attack. Now in the turn, let's see, I won't even touch the speed brakes. As we make this turn here, VLS will come up. If I go in the turn, VLS coming up, and I get those speed brakes out, it's going to be really shooting up. Vodka just hit up the dispensary ASAP. They got good details. They got good deals in Denver. I'm sure. No wonder Vodka did this flight with us. Would you verbalize stuff like that you just went through with the flap speed brake? Thrust set, yeah. So I'll be like, hey man, I know we're real close to that VLS here. Let's. I'm gonna stir the speed brake. Let's go flaps 1. I'll get the speed brake right back out. Just so you keep everybody in the loop. That's a pretty shallow turn. But let's see. Now I'll go VLS. Look at this. See if VLS wants to come up. All right, there's alt star. We need to keep going down. Let's descend 9,000, open descent. Let's do a thrust idle, open descent down to 9. Let's trickle the speed back. 210 is not a good speed here. I'm going to come right back to, we'll do 190 for now. There's VLS. Flap speed minus 10. Flaps 2. Now we can come back to 190. We'll keep that speed brake out. Come back to 180. Now we're looking good. You got to start 321 high density altitude airfields like Denver and anywhere in South America. You got to get ahead of the game here. Now, if you are flaps 2 180 at 2,000 feet AGL, you're still going to be golden. But you may have to configure earlier than you normally would. Okay, it's not like going into LAX where you're sea level and everything's hunky-dory. We're at 10,000 feet. In the summertime, density altitude's up. Still try to hit that flaps 2,000 feet above touchdown zone, 180 knots, but you're going to probably have to start configuring early. CTAF is 24.3. Thanks, McAllen. Denver traffic, let's see, Spirit Wings 357 out of 9,600 for the ILS 34 right approach, Denver. Alright, sounds are coming up for me. I don't think they're going to change for you at all. Gosh, look at that flap view, looks good. Good afternoon from a cooler Texas, Chase B. I know, man. I'm going fishing tonight. We're speed alt star, flaps 2, 180. Let's go ahead and arm the approach. Glide slope blue, lope blue, cap 3 dual, autopilot 1+2. Boeing is at 9,000. We're at 9. We're looking good, chat. Traffic just over Boeing in front of us. We'll ride her on in. The number of accidents partially caused by one of the crew not saying what they're doing and not the other one not realizing. Exactly, Dale. That's why I always try to verbalize, even just, I don't want to say silly stuff like that, but I, as a captain, really enjoy it when the FO verbalizes things that, even though he may assume I know what he's doing, just something simple like, hey, I'm going to be on 2. Like on radio 2, like when we're taxiing in and they got to call ramp, like, hey, I'm going to be on 2. You know, I know what he's doing. I can see him switching the radio freak. I can see him tuning. I can see him talking to ops on 2 or ramp on 2. But, hey, I'm on 2. Yeah, back on 1. Or, like, just little things like that. Or, hey, we're right on VLS here. I'm going to stow it. Let's go flaps 1. Then I'll slow right back down. Keep us off the VN East for the flaps. Little things like that, you never want to assume. Now, a good crew, especially a crew that's familiar with each other, there's a lot of communication that happens non-verbally because you just know what each other is doing. But even then, that's where it can be dangerous if you don't verbalize it. You still want to verbalize it. So now, am I going to be, the grumpy old captain and be like, well, you should have told me you did that? I'm like, no, but I'd say just keep me in the loop. I'll keep you in the loop. We'll be good to go. Great news, a Spirit Bird just landed in Denver in real life. Water, really? All right. Replay is on. Thank you, Zippy. Engines are working. That's going to be a juice replay. Okay, another thing to consider, high density altitude. You're going to want to flare probably a little bit earlier because things are going to happen faster. You may also have to have a little bit more flare just because the air is, I hate saying the air is thinner, but for time on this discussion, the air is thinner, so you need a little bit more input to get the same reaction that you would get at sea level. All right, we're flaps 2, we're 180, just because he's landing on 3-4. I'm supposed to be landing on the other side. Yeah, he's landing on their side. I got him in sight. All right, let's start configuring. We'll go gear down. Denver traffic, Spirit Wings 357. We're about a 7-mile final, 3-4 right, Denver. See, the sim is so low for me right now. VFE next, -10, flaps 3. Love the new flap animations. Look at that flap. That is so real. So real. Let's go flaps full. Flaps full.
UPS 292, heavy taxi, 35 left, is here at Charlie, and Mike.
Look at the double slotted flaps. Again, that's to help keep the pitch attitude a little bit more flat in the 321 for that tail strike. All right, looking at my VLS. Oh, it's pretty darn good. Let's go 2 knots. Let's just go 147. Just a little extra juice. We might have to bring the power back a little bit sooner. Gave myself a little bit extra juice. Don't want to float it. We're landing on a 16,000 foot runway though. Or 12,000 this one is, I think. All right, go around altitude. We'll set 10,000 feet. All right, landing checklist. Just waiting on the cabin. We'll give them a ding here. Since we don't have many FCU, I'm going to just disable now. We'll let the auto thrust on this one as well. We'll let it work. So you see the airplane wants to pitch up on me. That's that null zone situation.
Denver traffic marking 1820, just overlooked Dora bound on the Atlas 351. Denver.
Denver traffic, Spirit Wings 357, 6-mile final, 3-4 right.
Overhead teller, the 3-4 right. They Lucifer, FAO, you're landing.
1,000.
See how much I have to move the stick? Oh, I don't know if... Because we have that high null zone in there. I have to move the stick so much more before I get a reaction. I don't like that. I gotta figure that out in the settings. When I flew this airplane before on Monday, it was perfect. Then there was a software update to the Moza, and things just got all out of whack. All out of whack. I'm actually having to put in more input than what I would be putting in real life.
500.
Nice gust of wind there. We'll come out the backside. We're probably going to get a higher sink there. Try to arrest that.
Minimum.
Gosh, Denver is one ugly airport to land in. I feel like I'm flying X-plane right now.
Denver traffic turn 2387 number Boeing, ILS 44 right, 170 knots,
100.
Speed and energy look good.
50, 40, 30, 20. Retard.
Oh my gosh, what a floater.
5.
Let's go around.
Denver traffic, 92 heavy taking off runway 35.
Go around flaps. Oh, look at that touchdown. Go around flaps. Watch the tail. We're right there. Positive rate. Gear up. I'm going to have to fix that somehow. Denver traffic, Speedway 357 going around. So what happened there, we'll go nav, we'll be publish missed, we'll go autopilot 1 on. So because the null zone is off, when I go neutral, it's pitching up. And that's what's causing that float. All right, man, Toga, SRS, nav. That was a butter go around if I've ever seen one, yeah. Lever climb. I don't know, she seems like she's struggling to even do the go around here. I'm gonna keep it at MCT here for a minute. I'll stop that recording and save it. 321 go around. Save.
Denver traffic, American 298, turning final 35.
There's F speed, flaps 1. Be very careful here. We're in MCT thrust, so there's no limit on MCT. We're going to keep using MCT here till we get a little bit more juice and a little bit higher away from the ground here.
Denver traffic, American 1820, 17 miles out, ILS 25 left.
I'm 3 miles ahead of you. What's your speed?
Get 2 landings for the price of 1 today, chat.
180.
Okay, 180. Can you go down 10 knots maybe?
We're working on it, sir.
Thank you.
Thrust climb,
Denver traffic center.
open climb.
4456.
We're navin'.
Downwind for runway 34 left, following the long sea arrival. Denver traffic.
Denver traffic turn
All right, so now we got to listen to
5 miles, 34 right.
ATC and figure out how to resequence ourselves into here. There's S speed, flap 0. Clean it up after takeoff checklist. Look at that VLS coming up. Select 240.
Yeah, man. Listener reject you all.
2 times the fun. All right, let's go ahead and get out of this. We're not going to go to the hold. It's doing a great job flying the published mist, though. Gustavo's talking mad in the voice channel for landing at an airport with no mountains nearby. I know.
Right.
I know. Well, he can talk all he wants. We all know what happened in Colombia. All right, we're going to select heading. Let's fly heading 250.
8 mile final runway 34 right, Denver.
Let's resequence the box. We'll activate, confirm, ILS 34 right. And let's go ahead and go direct, Boeing 173, insert, select, pull heading. Denver traffic, Speedway 357, we're 10,000 feet. We're turning left downwind for 34 right, Denver. We'll come to about 180. And for speed purposes, I know we just sped up. Let's slow it down. Let's get back to 220. We'll get flaps 1 out just because there's a lot of traffic involved here. We need to slow down. We don't want to be cutting someone off at 250 knots. Team Vodka's already on the ground, so there's no need to be cutting anyone else off. There's flap speed minus 10 flaps 1. And we'll come right back to 180.
Cover traffic 537, clear 34 right Denver.
What was that call sign? Was that career track? Alright, there's the SP. Let's go flaps 2. It's that waypoint Boeing that broke my side stick. I know, Dale. I know. Tell you what, that was a smooth go around though. I mean, it was a definitely outside the touchdown zone, but it just floated. But you see what's happening? It's not, yes, it's an excuse, but when I go neutral, it's defaulting to pitch up, which is then causing us to float. I'm not doing that. We're going to do 2. At least we have to go right over downtown. Gosh, the sim is so ugly at midday. There we go. Especially midday with no clouds. Ugh. And Denver. Denver traffic, speed wings 357, 10,000 feet. Left downwind, 34 right. Anybody turn on final, please advise. Let's come right, 160. I was just thinking how great it looked. Ugh. I hate flying at 12 noon.
Denver traffic. FedEx 4456 Heavy is
that's that MD-11.
currently direct to Dangle, I believe.
Denver keeps
for
catching
the ILS
strays.
Runway 34 right. Denver traffic.
Denver traffic, American 298.
Oh, that's a view right there.
Denver traffic, Legion 682, vacated 34.
You can see your house from there, is it, Captain Will? Nice, man. If you look to your right, you'll see the Broncos Stadium where Bo Nix is going to be going to the Super Bowl. Mile High. There it is. Look, there's Mile High in all her photogrammetry glory. I got to say, Zach Wilson. No. Here's all you Denver fans. I cannot wait to see Zach Wilson start for you on week 3 after Bo Nix tears his ACL. It's going to be Zach Wilson time in Denver. And finally, another team in the NFL will have to deal with the atrocity that is Zach Wilson. Bo Nix left the SEC because he couldn't cut it. Yeah, he's going to cut his ACL. That's what's going to happen. Broncos country, let's ride. I love talking mad smack. If you're a football fan and you don't care about flight sim and you hate me, that's fine. Join the Discord. Go to our football section of the Discord, because game day in the V1 Discord, in the football channel, gets wild. I mean, we have certified lawyers in there to keep everybody in check. His name's Saul Goodman. Can't wait for football season. Just a week and a half, chat. Week and a half away. All right, let's descend and maintain 9,000. 9,000 blue with thrust idle, open descent. Make sure the box is resequenced here. So we are in approach mode. Here's a gotcha. This is an important one, especially for you hardcore VATSIM flyers, especially going into Europe and Heathrow, okay? If you go around and you've customized your V-app, there's a good chance that you're going to be flying around for quite some time before you get resequenced. What is happening while you're flying around? You're burning gas. And while you're burning gas, your VLS is actually going to change. So if you never take out your V-app that you customize, you could get off. Now, it only changed 1 knot for us, and this is a short go-around. But imagine going around, getting sequenced, maybe having to go all the way out to the hold, then coming back in for another approach. Maybe the winds have died down. You got to be careful of that. That's a real-life gotcha. You want to clear out that V-app and then reassess on your next final approach.
Boeing 9000 for runway 34 right. Denver traffic.
How about them Giants? No. I mean, I haven't heard much about the Giants this year. It seems pretty quiet over there in Giants land. Frustrated Cowboys fan vents for me incoming. Oh yeah, Fubar. Look, I'm giving up. I'm almost already giving up hope on the Cowboys this year. I'm gonna commit solely to the Jets because I've been saying this for the last couple of years. Dak Prescott, he is a great regular season quarterback. That's it. That's it. He's a great regular season quarterback. Until he's out of there, nah. I'm all in on Aaron, number 8, baby. All right, we're turning base. Denver traffic, Spear Wings 357. Turn to left base 34 right, Denver.
Denver traffic, FedEx 4456 Heavy is on the ILS approach for runway 34 right. Denver traffic. At Spirit 357, be advised you're following a heavy MD-11 on final for 34 right.
Copy that. Yeah, we got you inside for 357. All right. So he's just off our left nose, off the left side there. A heavy MD. Man, we had to go around, so we missed the MD-11 touchdown. All right, 080, vector to join. Seems like the engines are doing quite a lot of oscillating. You hear that? I wonder if they can smooth that out. I think, didn't that happen on like one of the updates and then they smoothed it out? I'm going to go manual thrust on this one. Yeah, look at the EPers. You see how the EPers are dancing? If I saw that in real life, I'd be like, okay. My thrust levers. Ah. Facts. Don't get that problem on the Tolus. Yeah, because your eyes would be... Oh, you know what's causing that? Hold on. Didn't we decide that was the wind from the turbulence effect? Shouldn't turbulence be on low or medium? I think we turned it back to high when we were flying in Colombia. I think that was a turbulence effect thing, because remember the wind smoothing? So that's exactly what that is. That's all right. We'll do a manual thrust approach here. Glide slope blue, low blue, Cat 2. Autopilot 1+2. Why are we Cat 2, chat? Why are we Cat 2 on this approach? 050 to join. Lights are on. We're ready to go. Another excuse, at least it is in the right time. Yeah, well, it's... I think we all
Denver
understand
Denver
the
traffic, FedEx 4456
turbulence setting now.
Because
Because that actually really helped. We were flying around and that wind thing was jumping around and we turned the wind down, or turned the settings down, and it was perfect. I'm going to let it be on this approach just so I have the same feel. But, yeah, I would highly recommend running at least medium or low on the turbulence, because realistic, you get that super aggressive wind jump. Little things like that I'm hoping for 24. You know, I honestly don't expect a huge change for Microsoft 24. I know we're going to have a lot of missions and stuff, which I'm actually going to fly some missions. I think it sounds cool. I don't expect a huge change as far as flight model is concerned. I just hope it's ground effect, ground handling, and smoothing out of that, what we're just dealing with now, that wind effect. Rahul, turbulence low is the best. Medium is okay too, but running mine on realistic, you'll get that really aggressive wind shifting around. It's going to be in assistance options, Ian. So when you go to your escape menu, it'll be on, I believe it's assistance, right, chat? If I find it, if I remember on the ground, I'll do it. All right, Lokestar.
That's a positive landing.
Was that MD-11? Smashed it. All right. I'm going to turn this one off even earlier because I want to get a feeling for how it's hand flying with the null zone. I got to sort this null zone thing out. I'll have some time after this stream. I had it working perfectly. So I know I can get it working perfectly again. It's just got to take some time. All right. Manage speed, gear down, slow it down. Oh, look at that view. Recording is on. I almost just jacked the whole stream.
FedEx 4456 heavy is clear of runway 34 right, Denver traffic, and reporting a loss of about 5 or 6 knots over final for Denver traffic.
Are you going to taxi straight to the maintenance hangar?
I don't know, but that was not as hard as it looked.
That's what they all say. All right, 146. Added 2 knots there. We're 146. I have the speed. I'm going to turn off the autopilot. I got to bind that. Keep forgetting to bind that too. All right. Cat 1. Let's see how we do here. Look at that pitch attitude, right about 2 degrees. Comes in just a little bit flatter. Beautiful. Oh. Landing checklist, cabin crew advised, auto thrust. It's off. ECAM memo, landing all green. Landing checklist is complete. Runway's in sight. We're landing 9,000 for the go around. If for some reason we screw this up, no go arounds on this one, chat. Tom H, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, you can still see there's a quite a look at my side stick. And the airplane's not responding. That's that note. That's a I'm gonna have to fix that. Gonna have to fix that. Actually, you know what? Might need to tighten you down a little bit. Ah. All right, I'm buying a WinWing. I'm buying a WinWing Ursa Minor. I will say I'm still impressed at that WinWing side stick. Felt great. All right, Lucifer's off the right, isn't he? Or is he off the left? We'll look for it on the replay.
1,000.
Sync grade, check. 1,000 feet, stable, clear to land, runway's clear. I forgot I had control of thrust levers there. A little low, correcting.
100 above.
The winds are definitely shifty. Definitely shifty winds down here. Oh, come on. I wanted the butter. Spoilers. Reverse green. We missed it. We missed the perfect juice. That's all right. All right, let's look at this. We're going to ride the reversers on this one. I'm not even touching the brakes yet. Don't even touch the brakes till you're below 100 knots. Don't. There we go. Below 100. Now we'll get on them lightly. Keep the reverser into 70 knots all the way down. 70 knots. Bring it to idle reverse. Now we can make our nice exit off. Now we won't have smoking hot brakes.
That was a solid 1 in Lucifer scale.
Is that good or bad? we'll slow her down.
Awful. Like Zach Wilson, awful.
Like Zach Wilson, awful. All right, we'll clear here. That's pretty bad if that was a Zach Wilson landing. All right, we'll clean it up. Let's take it in. Have you placed your order for a VR headset? I have not yet. I have not yet. All right, we'll stop the recording. We'll take a look at that one.
A51, man. A51, park here.
A51. I'm just going to the soonest gate I can find. Closest gate I could find. English, second language. All right. Recording is off. That's off. Let's go ahead and kill the light since it's going to be a 25-minute taxi in here in Denver. How are wheels looking? We'll keep an eye on them. Fuel 7.6 still feels pretty good. As crazy as this dead zone is, like look. So you see the crosshair? Watch my stick. All right, so just to get it to move. No movement. That's wild. Never used to do that till that last update and wiped all my stuff. How precise is the Throttletek versus TCA Airbus Quadrant? Not even comparable, man. The TCA Airbus throttles are not what you need to be using for the Airbus, unfortunately. They're just too short. They're too light. They're look. If all you're doing is flying with auto thrust on, then it doesn't matter, right? Because you're putting it in the detent. If you want to hand fly at all, very challenging to do so. Now there are some mods where you can remove and make the range a little bit greater between the detents. Okay, now maybe, but if you want to hand fly at all or auto thrust at all, it's going to be very challenging with the Airbus Quadrant. I would recommend even if you have a Bravo, use the Bravo. Maybe get some detents on that because you have a longer range of throw with that. Does it have a nose? No, it doesn't. And JCR, here's the thing. I was paying specific attention to side stick inputs yesterday when I was flying because I want to see because I'm obsessed with getting the side stick right. So when I would move it in real life like that, it would move up. Just it's instantaneous. So I got to do some more work in the software, see if I can get it dialed back in. Now I don't know what happened because it was dialed perfectly. It was. I'll have to test it out. I'll have to throw on my other one just to see if it's something through Microsoft Flight Sim that's conflicting or creating this massive null zone, because when I look at my software, actually I could probably show you. Yeah, so let me show you. Hold on. Do I still have it? Hold on. Yeah, so look at this. Oh, Team Vodka, I fixed this. So look, it's perfect. Always goes right back to 0. But now, for some reason, in the sim, I can't get around this null zone situation. And what's interesting is we're not even getting that ECAM anymore. Yeah, interesting. I'm not sure what's going on, man. I have 3 different null zones set up. I think that's what's happening. I think I have like 3 null zones and they're all adding up to each other. Yeah, John, I'll probably do that as well. Probably throw a different planet. Ooh, is that a 319 taxiing out? Yeah, buddy. Who's ready for a 319 party? All right, we're doing a 319 party and a 727 party. It's going to be a fun couple of weeks of streaming, y'all. It's going to be fun. Yeah, Aeromaze. That's what I'm thinking. The Moza is accurate. The software is accurate in the Moza. So it's something in Microsoft settings that I need to change. And I know it works wonderfully because I was flying it before it came out and it was working phenomenally. So I'm sure I'll fix it. I love the Fenix ground handling, man. It's so good, chat. It's so good. So good. With the tiller, spot on. Curious if a derated 19 out of Denver is real world. Thing was a total dog. E to the D, it just depends. Every airline has different ways of how they calculate their takeoff performance. So there's a couple different limiting factor routes you can go. It just depends. I will say though, like have you guys have seen that the 19 will have a higher flex, it will have a higher D rate, because depending on your load, you're probably going to be lighter, right? So because the airplane is so small and you have a lot less weight, even though the engines are derated, you'll get a higher flex temp. But you also have to be mindful of what else are you doing? What's your terrain? What's your climb gradient requirements coming out of there? So the simple solution is in flight sim, flexing is not required unless you want that long takeoff roll. Let that baby go wide open on that 319. Enjoy the sounds on takeoff. It's so nice. Well, we're going to park here next to American. American Spirit merger confirmed. Oh, I thought this guy was marshalling me. He's over there jacking the license plate off that van. It's all right. Erp. Ooh, that was perfect. Erp. Oh, we were short. 2 inches short. Pretty dang close to a perfect ERP. Look at the detail, though, man. Even got the tow light. Watch this. Hold on. I go C. The red light goes off. Now it gets bright. Now it's illuminated. That's so cool. All right. Let's watch these replays, chat. We're going to disconnect from my Veo Premium. Let's watch... I'll tell you what, we'll watch the landing first, then we'll watch the go around. Two inches short. I've heard that before. I'm sure you have, Fubar. It sucks. Alright. Lights are on, flaps are coming in, gear is down. This is our touchdown. This is our landing. What you get for parking at an AA gate. Alright, let's run it forward to the actual landing here. Everything felt pretty darn good. I got a little unstabilized as we came over the threshold. We'll watch it from the wing view first. Guess. Look at that shadow of our 321. That is so cool. There's those weird tents. I never understand the tent idea. Jeff Fabiano is here. Good to see you, man. In fact, you could fly it onto the runway with that null zone as a feat of itself. I tried, man. I tried. Oh, that's pretty good. I think we had a little bit of the crosswind airplane drifting into the wind situation as well. As far as the shadow went, that looked pretty decent. Let's see how it looked without the shadow. With that much dead zone, I would have been cussing down the entire approach. Jeff, I was internally, my man. Trust me. There was a lot of internal screaming happening there on that approach. Let's see. If we watch it from this angle, it won't look as bad. Actually, this side. Let's watch it from this side. A little streamer magic here. It's all about angles. Hold it off. A little bit of a flare. Trying to find it. Oh, dang. That was not terrible as far as touchdown, but we were We were between the center line and the edge lights there. That's an AJ Funari landing. Yeah, look at that. That's got AJ written all over it. Daggone, look at that. Curve to the right. Let's see the actual touchdown, though. Probably in the 200-ish. We ended up getting it on center line, but solid Zach Wilson landing. Yeah. I think what happened, though, and that's the wind. Like, the wind. Where's the wind? Is there even a windsock? I don't even know. Probably not. Probably wasn't the wind at all. I just want to know how we go from perfectly on center line there. How did I screw that up so bad? Just slid to the right. Just literally slid out to the right. Try to get a little left aileron in there to correct it. A little bit side loaded. Yeah, that's a solid Zach Wilson landing right there. Lufthansa center line minus the wing strike. My goodness. Long landing. Long landing. All right, let's see the go around. So I'm going to stop this replay. We might go off the runway. Give me a second. Don't want to save that one. We're going to load. Yes, I want to load 321 go around. I'm going to zap it back out here. I'm going to go skip it forward.
Speed, speed, speed.
All right, everything's good. Flaps are full. Gear is down. Lights are ticking themselves. Got you. All right, let's see this one. So we do have a crosswind from the right. That's the thing. So wind from the right, airplane blows into the wind. Makes 0 sense. It's a Microsoft thing. Happened in the 727 in Newark. I think that might be my number one. People ask a lot on here. What do you want to see in 24? And then ground handling is up there. But I do not want to drift upwind in Microsoft 2024 on a crosswind landing. Makes 0 sense. The airplane should go the opposite direction. It should weather vane into the wind, and when you put in the correction, it should go with the wind. It should not go against the wind. That is the number one. That's probably my number one pet peeve in this sim is the crosswind landing characteristics. Throw away ground friction, because I feel like there's been some good add-ons that have really good ground friction. The F-28, hell, even the Fenix taxiing around the ground feels good. Like, is there a big inertia issue? I mean, you could argue there's an inertia problem, but outside of that, I would rather be able to land in a crosswind properly than worry about, breakaway thrust and things like that. Yeah, that's gotta be my pet peeve. I think that's my number one. Can't wait for that to be fixed in 24, says Jeff. That's why I don't do crosswind videos with the sim. Yeah, Jeff, I'm about to start nulling out all the winds in these videos. Crosswind and friction bug that stops you and you have to hit the brakes. Yes, Jeff. What I've started doing is just using the mouse wheel, because it's the click and drag. Anytime you click and drag your view with the brake applied at all, it will automatically lock it. So I've started using the mouse wheel push down to drag my view around instead of the right click, because if you're right clicking and you have any brake at all applied, it will lock it up. Super annoying. I agree with you, man. It's rage quit worthy. All right, let's see what happened here. We'll probably drift into the wind again. I want to see this. This felt smooth from up front, even though it was halfway down the runway. So let's see what happened. Look at that. We're right over the center line. Start the flare. And this is when the null zone was pitched up, though. Oh, man. Did we drag it on? Let's see. Yeah, dragged it on pretty good. But we landed down here where Gus likes to land. Halfway down the runway here. We need a Lucifer cam. Oh, AJ, thanks for a $3 super chat. I'll go find Lucifer. We'll do a flyover. So again, coming right over the center line. This one was, nah. Just because we had that null zone issue. Look at that. Drifting into the wind. Gotta love it. Erp, erp. Watch that tail strike. Look how the wheel slows down. Go around flaps. Positive rate. Gear up. Up we go. Pretty cool. That's where you really got to be careful. If you're doing go-arounds in the 321, 9.7, 9.5. All right. Let's wind it back again.
Terrain ahead.
Where is Where is that Lucifer, AJ? I didn't even see it. Gosh, I hate this airport. This airport is one of the ugliest airports in the country. This is the flight beam, right? I'm not using default to Zobo. The horse should be over here somewhere. Oh, there it is. There it is. There's Lucifer, right down there. God, what a terrible airport. We're never flying in here in the sim again. This airport is one of the ugliest airports in the world. I think I'd rather land at Yuma than come in here again. All right. That's why you botched the landing. You desecrated Lucifer. All right, next stream we're going to go from Tulsa, Oklahoma to Yuma, Arizona, and it's going to be a hell of a lot more pretty than coming into Denver. I'm done. I'm done. Ooh, I do have something for you, chat. I do have something for you. I do. It's been a minute. It's time to get sail going. Let's get out of here. I'm tired of looking at this crosswind landing, upwind, into the wind. All right, y'all. Ironically, I'm in a 321 tomorrow, so I hope my landings are better. I got 3 legs in a 321 tomorrow. Cross country, LA arrival. Hopefully we get 2-4 right over the in and out. If you're a plane spotter, hit me up. Maybe you can catch me coming in LAX tomorrow, 6:30-ish p.m. All right. I got to remember how to go land the real thing. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I will catch y'all next week. I got, like I said, 2-day trip. Sunday, probably not streaming. Probably Monday we'll be back live. And then we're going to schedule out some fun things. So, Jeff, thanks for stopping by, man. Really appreciate you. I love watching your videos. Love the 727 stuff as well. Thank you all for tuning in. Thanks for hitting the like buttons, super chats, membership milestone chats. You guys are awesome. Have a wonderful rest of your week. I'm V1. Stay safe. Stay healthy. See you. This is literally what the level D sims look like. Just this flat green nonsense.